Talk Show.
Recorded live.
Welcome to the Tuesday Nights Time for Targeting podcast. I'm your moderator, Ella. Tonight we have yet another special guest, and I'm very excited to have Alli and Peter here to discuss the conference we have scheduled here in fall in Massachusetts. But a couple little notes here. If you are new to the call, please stay on, and we will get you some additional support, some additional TalkShoe podcast numbers, and some helpful links and websites. This is a solutions and educational-based podcast, but the views and opinions of my guests are not necessarily my own personal views and opinions. My goal is that everyone can obtain something out of tonight, especially a feeling of empowerment. If you have any suggestions, comments, questions, or especially if you're in need of some additional support, please don't hesitate to email me at tiangel2016@gmail.com. And I appreciate all the suggestions for guests. I listen to them, obviously, and I do my best to get them on for you guys. So we have, Alli, and we have Peter here to discuss this conference, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about Alli. She's the one spearheading this, and she's also going to give her testimony. So she's a really incredible woman, so let me tell you a little bit about her. She graduated Chapman University in Orange County with a 3.5 GPA. She's cum laude, I can't say that today, cum laude, Gray Key, not sure what Gray Key is, Dean's List, 5 semesters. She took classes towards her MBA but never finished. She started having children. She's worked 13 years and had a successful career in sales, 3 in office equipment sales, 2 in pharmaceutical, and 8 in the medical field. She has received many promotions, President's Club trips, sales awards, and accolades. Her biggest accomplishment, though, is her beautiful children. So thank you, Alli. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Ella. We're calling it 2017 Unity and Hope Conference. We're hoping to make this an annual thing. There's a great group of community in the Boston area, and they did put together a conference kind of similar a couple years back. It was really successful. So we're hoping to kind of do something similar. I'm working with a really great committee of people. Peter is on the Rosenbaum is on the phone. Carol Gifford is also working with us too. I think she might be on the call as well. And Kate Ryan, Margaret Zavnek. Did I pronounce that right, Peter? Mike Mason is also helping us. Midge is also helping us, and Ella as well. And we had Frank Allen and Derek as well giving some input too, and Desiree, had helped us a little bit as well. So what we're trying to accomplish with this conference, we're working with a number of different organizations. We're trying to kind of unite the community as much as we can. Our goal is to try to unite everybody, make a video afterwards that we can put online, creating kind of a one-stop shop for targeted individuals to learn about technology, resources, activism, support networks, scanning, lawsuits, receive hope for a solution to end their torture. Some of the different organizations like the Red Pill Hardcore Show, PAX, Targeted Massachusetts, obviously the show, the Ella Free Show, some of the people from the Techno Crime Fighters Forum, Citizens Against Harmful Technology had offered to help as well. So the conference deliberations are going to be on the following topics. We're going to be demonstrating the technology used for V2K, all known technologies and patents used in psychological and physical torture of targeted individuals. Mike is going to be coming with the audio spotlight. We're going to be discussing the history of mind control technology and the torture used on non-consensual innocent civilians. We're going to be introducing all of the resources available to TI. So we're going to include, make sure that, we have the resources listed out for all the different conference calls, websites, blogs, social media pages, TV, radio, YouTube, podcasts, shows, all the different local support group networks, discussing different activism opportunities, walks, letter writing campaigns, flyers, shirts, awareness campaigns, meetups, rallies, protests, other ways to raise awareness of this growing crime, demonstrating and discussing scanning techniques and referring to private investigators who can scan for radio frequencies, identification of nanomaterials and other similar technologies in individuals, introducing legal action ideas, including gathering affidavits and possibility of a class action lawsuit idea, discussing the symptom survey created for the targeted individual community, enthusiastically supported by joint organizations with Bill Binney and Kirk Wiebe as advisors. The survey is intended to gather demographics, medically diagnosed and undiagnosed symptoms, and other information related to what targeted individuals experience. Again, our goal is to bring together as many support groups, media shows, activism groups, organizations of targeted individuals, so we can work together, learn from each other, and strategize on solutions to bring about change and end the suffering of hundreds of thousands of victims nationwide. So our hope is to come together, to build, to empower, to educate the community on technology, resources, and support, and then as a unified front, attempt to educate the public. As a result of this conference, we'll be able to strategically fight for freedom and justice with all the unity of the groups that we can worldwide, and the knowledge and understanding of the program and the technology. So, so far, we have the buy-in for, we're thinking that we're probably going to have a lot of presentations, video presentations. We're going to try to have any speakers that are interested in presenting, maybe putting together a video presentation. So even if they're not able to make it, or if something happens, their targeting increases and, something happens last minute, we at least have a video presentation that we can show of them. But we have had some commitments to either be there live in person or present a video presentation from some of these key thought leaders of within the targeted individual community. Karen, and if I mispronounce anybody's name, I apologize. Karen Milton Stewart, activist, NSA whistleblower, former NSA linguist on the Techno Crime Fighters Forum. Carl Clark, activist, whistleblower, former CIA and MI5 operative. Catherine Horton, activist, particle physicist, Techno Crime Fighters Forum, Stop 007 website, Tsunami email campaign. David Voigt, activist, former naval officer, organized Walk Against Human Experiments. Dr. Millicent Black, activist, Techno Crime Fighters Forum. Dr. Paul Marco, activist, Techno Crime Fighters Forum, Pinecone Utopia. Dr. Sean Andrews, activist, materials scientist, engineer, and organic chemist. Ella Free, activist, call moderator, Ella Free Show. Kate Ryan, activist, call moderator, runs the New England support group, Organized Symptom Survey. Midge Mathias, activist, researcher with the new investigative techniques. Tomo Shibata, activist and author. Stephen Schellen, activist and actor. Gary Kazenbaum, activist, former Marine captain. Desiree Foley, activist, YouTube sensation. V, activist, TV and radio personality, The Red Pill Hardcore Show. Derek Robinson, activist, PAX International, executive director. Frank Allen, activist, call moderator, targeted Massachusetts. Dr. Matthew Aaron, activist, neurobiologist and toxicologist. Mike Mason, activist, call moderator, showing the B2K with the audio spotlight. Peter Rosenbaum, activist, runs the New England, runs the New England support group. And Neil Chevrier, activist, runs Citizens Against Harmful Technology. Dwight Magnum, activist, engineer, designs a device to alleviate symptoms of targeting. So that's who we have so far. Obviously, we are still hoping, to put more speakers on as, if anyone else expresses an interest. We are still working on putting together the agenda and the topics that are being discussed and, fine-tuning everything. So I'm putting together a website that I'll have up. It will have the availability for people to RSVP right on the website. We have decided not to give specifics about the location because we've had some issues with, getting shut down at another location. And we just want to make sure that things run smoothly. So what we're thinking we're going to do is you can RSVP on the website and you put your contact information. And then the New England support group will get back in touch with you and we will give you all of the specifics and help coordinate everything that we can from there. But just that way we're not giving the specific location on a public forum. We're doing it personally, one-on-one with people when we get in touch with them. So the conference is going to run from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday and 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday. So I believe I said the date, so this way you can save the date, October 21st and October 22nd. And Friday and Saturday evenings are going to be more informal opportunity, for networking, support within the community. The conference itself is going to be free and open to the public. But for lodging options, we have put together a couple different options for people. One option is more of a dormitory style option, and this is going to be on site of the conference. Beautiful hiking and views, close to the 28, 95, 93, easy to get to with public transportation. We'll be shuttling people in from like the bottom of the hill if they're coming in from public transportation. It's going to be, so it's $64 total per person for Friday and Saturday night, so it's only $32 a night for the dormitory style option. Attendees do need to bring their own sheets for the dorm sleeping, and then meals will be provided. We're going to do meals, I think we said like $20 a day, and we'll cook all the meals for them as well. So then if there's a large industrial kitchen, plenty of fridge space, there's a water machine, and there's also, we can lock the gate, so it will be, private in the evening for sleeping. If the other option for people too is there's also a block of rooms at a Homewood Suite that's 5 minutes away from the location. These rooms are booked at a discounted rate of $169 per night for a studio king bed and a pull-out sleeper sofa. That sleeps a max of 4 people. And then it's $189 per night for a 1-bedroom with 2 queens and a pull-out sleeper sofa. So, and that sleeps 6 people in that room. And then there's also a Comfort Inn option as well with a block of rooms there as well. And that is $169 for 4 people too. So just to give, some different options for people and, what they can do when they RSVP, we can talk with them, figure out, where they want to sleep. And then from there, we can, coordinate, like if they want to share rooms with people, we can help, kind of coordinate that too. Or if they, already have people that they want to share rooms with, or, if they want to just call the hotels and book their rooms directly, however people want to do it, we can just kind of figure it out from there. But space is limited in the dormitory venue. So, you want to make sure that as soon as we get the website up, if you are interested, please book your room right away. And that is pretty much it, I think. Peter, do you have anything you want to add here?
How many people can the dormitories hold?
50. The dormitory can sleep 50 people.
Yeah, so that.
I mean, we might be able to squeeze in more if we, had more people. But they'd probably have to bring sleeping bags. There's 50 beds, I believe, or 48 beds.
Yeah. I think 50 is pretty good. I think it would, some people are going to want a hotel, and, so I think 50 is actually pretty good.
I know you guys had like 60 people at the last conference, but I always think of the D.C. trip. We had like 9 people, so you never know what to expect.
Right. No, Kay and I went and got a hotel, though, because, didn't want to do the dormitory style stuff, So there was plenty of room. So I don't think we should have a problem. 50 should be fine. But if people want to go to a hotel, then they're there. So can you bring Kate on, Ella?
Yeah,
Kate's been
maybe she's available. I wasn't sure if she was available, but maybe she's available. If you are available to speak, just go ahead and star 8, and I'll let you in. Otherwise, no big deal. Oh, hold on. Here's Massachusetts. Hi.
Hi, Ella.
Hi, Kate.
Hey, Kate.
Hi, everybody.
So Kate's been over there to check the place out, so I thought she could.
The most important thing that I was looking for when I got there was to find out how clean it was, and it's very clean. I was really amazed, actually. For a camp, I was thinking, oh boy, this could be really bad, but it's really well kept. I mean, it's not the Taj Mahal as far as looks, but it is very functional, very clean. They have it set up for. There's a commercial, like industrial-sized kitchen, so it's just like the kitchen of any restaurant, and it's set up with a counter, so you can come to the counter. There's a pull-down screen right at the counter, too, so when the kitchen isn't being used, there's the room is set up with folding chairs, so the screen would be up where at the front of the room where the kitchen is. So it's all in one spot there. And let's see, what else? As far as the way the rooms are set up, there's extra mattresses. They have, I think it's like a foam mattress on each of these little beds, and they have about 4 beds to a room. So, you're really sleeping in like a barrack type of a setup. People can, if they want, have even more people in the room by just taking each of the beds, I think, have 2 of these mattresses on, and you really only need one, so someone could actually put one down on the floor and add extra people. But as far as what Allison said, I think it's just a little over 50 when you take the mattresses apart and add extra. So if it would be 40 max if everyone has 2 mattresses, and then if you wanted to add people, then you start taking the mattresses down. Okay. Hope that it makes it clear. It's a beautiful setting. It's probably one of the most beautiful sights. You can look off in the distance and see Boston. Look off and see actually the shore as well. And there's a tower there. So it's just a breathtaking 360-degree view. For those who want to be active, if you felt like hiking at all, there's hiking trails everywhere there. And for public transportation, you can get a bus right to basically the bottom of the hill, and we could then transport people up that came by public transportation up, via picking you up with a car, because it's quite a steep hill. Unless somebody's really athletic, it's a bit of a climb, I would think. Probably a little over a half-mile climb from the parking lot. There's a little parking lot, so a public bus comes into that parking lot. I haven't gotten the schedule yet, but I should get that to you, Allison, on the busing, how often it comes. And then if people also came in via the T, we could possibly pick some people up at the T as well. Okay.
Well, I was just saying that some people might fly in, so we'll probably arrange to pick them up, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
our local group can pick up anybody at the airport.
They can take public transportation from the airport too, and then we could get them to the the nearest spot. Like if they even took the public transportation to Quincy, we could pick them up there.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not chance getting lost. I mean, I've
right.
always.
I mean, if that if we have a lot, we certainly could.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have a million, and so we should be able to work it out.
Yeah, as long as it's not in the middle of the day, because then that would mean leaving the conference. So that would be the best.
I would assume people flying in would want to get in Friday. That we have the room Friday night. I don't know what time we can check in or, but I would assume we'd be able to get there like midday on Friday. If people wanted to come in, I would assume recommend if they're flying in to come in Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like when we had the Mid-Atlantic Conference, it sounds very much like the same setup, kind of similar setup.
Mm-hmm.
So.
In the conference room, the actual conference area holds 100 people. So even though the dorm sleeping is only for 50 people, the actual conference area, we can accommodate up to 100 people. So, and, the conference itself, like I said, is, we want to make sure that it's free for anybody who wants to come. But it's only, the cost of the lodging and the food.
Yeah, I mean, we also talked about, people, if they can't make it and if they want to send in a video to say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I live, here, and I'm a TI, and, just quick little videos. We thought if a lot of people did that, we would try to put that all together. And,
I think that's a great idea. If anybody on the call wants to put together a 10-second clip, 10, probably like no more than 10, 15, 20 seconds. Just I'm a TI, I experienced this, and we were talking about putting together like a video montage that we can present as well. We thought that would be nice to do.
Yeah, and keep it simple. Don't get all into your targeting and crazy stuff. I mean, we'd like to be able to put this on YouTube, and I guess, say whether you want it to go into YouTube or not, But, I mean, we got to represent.
It would be nice, too, if people could even do groups, get groups together. And
video.
And, even if it's just a few seconds, like you said, it still shows that people are united, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, we just got to speak up about.
The idea is we're going to have a video presentation of as much of the conference as we can, too, so that way we understand it's difficult sometimes for people to, make it into things, but we want to be able to have all these resources available in one place if we can.
So, I don't know, Ella, do you want to open it up to any questions or anything?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm getting a couple questions here in the chat room. Star 8 if you have a question specifically for the conference. So let's see. Here's one question coming. So Star 8 again. Oh, Sean, you're at the top again. Hi, Sean.
Hey, Ella, I was just listening. I don't have a question currently, but I just wanted to say that the presentation, Allison, so far, discussing the forming, the venue, Kate, Peter, fantastic, super professional, and I am super excited to be there for the Hope and Unity Conference. And thanks again for all the great job you guys are all doing. And I hope that everyone listening participates with the clips by showing up and supports our efforts and gets the word out. This is absolutely a fantastic effort and exactly what we all need for our cause. Thanks, Ella.
Thanks, Sean.
We're excited to have you and have your help.
Yeah, the biggest thing is TIs meeting TIs for everyone who comes. In Pennsylvania, that's what it was. We're all talking and meeting each other. And that is the best part. And you make friends for life.
Aww.
So I hope a lot of people come. They won't regret it.
Yeah, it's a really special opportunity. And you have the opportunity to go and learn and, and to meet other TIs and then record this as well. And one question I see here in the chat is, I'd be happy, are you planning on putting on advertisement videos together so we can start advertising this ahead of time on YouTube?
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I was putting together a website. It's just from Wix because it was free.
Right.
We could. I wasn't thinking about a video, but we could talk about that to put on YouTube.
He said he'd be willing. Matthew said he would help edit it. If he wants his help, that's something he's really good at as well. So
that would be a good idea, Allison. We could get you up there on Google Hangouts video.
Yeah. Mhm.
I like the idea, especially of Matt helping.
Yeah, he's really phenomenal at that too. Some of you guys have probably seen some of his videos, and he does a lot of the editing for the big interviews. So I have 100% confidence in his ability to put something together, very professional, and something that will convey well. Okay, so I'm going to go to Terry. Hi, Terry.
Hello?
Hi.
I just wanted to say, as far as advertising stuff, first of all, I'd like to say that's great you're putting together this conference. It's nice to see something like this going on in our community. And I was just going to say, if you want to do something for advertisements, a pic, a video, whatever, let me know, and I will put it up on my website to help out and promote it.
Okay. And the question was the location of it. I saw that again. So it's going to be in Boston, Massachusetts.
Outside of Boston.
Oh, outside of Boston, yeah. Not right in, exactly.
Not right in the
20 minutes
no,
south.
Yeah.
20 minutes, thanks.
Which makes it a lot easier, you know.
Was that, Terry, was that you that I had emailed last week?
Let me unmute him real quick. Hi, Terry.
I don't think I got an email. I got a text from you saying you were going to send me an email. I believe.
Send it to you. Okay. I'll make sure I send it to you. Yeah. I think you had mentioned that you might want to come in as well to be a speaker possibly too.
Yeah, I'm going to see about that. Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, Saturday is when you text me. So.
Okay, great.
Yeah, if you could send me the email, that would be great. And like I said, I'm really willing to help get the word out there about this.
Okay, perfect. I'll reach out to you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Northeast New York. Remember, let's try to keep the questions directed at them for the conference. Hi, New York. There was a lot of background noise. If you want to start when you're in a spot that's a little more quiet, go ahead.
Ella?
Yes.
Hi, it's Cindy in Sacramento.
Hi, Cindy. Do you have a question about the conference?
Yes.
Hi.
I'm wondering, it's a conference. Can you just give like a 30-second blurb or a 15-second blurb on what it is? Because I came in right in the middle of it. Maybe other people did too. What is this regarding? Hello?
Give her a quick.
Yeah,
okay,
a little bit of a commercial. Thank you so much.
So, yeah, no problem. So, our goal is to kind of unite the community. We want to put together a kind of a one-stop shop for TIs to learn about technology, resources, activism, support networks, scanning, lawsuits, just strategize and receive hope for a solution, hopefully to end our torture.
And this video will be available too if somebody wants to go back and review it and listen to it and get all the details. It will be on YouTube probably within a couple of days. So, okay, I'm going to try New York one more time. Hopefully you're in a little quieter of a spot. Hi, New York.
Hi. I just wanted to say hello briefly, and I look forward to this. And I would like all of this to end. And that's really all I can say, and I support everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Appreciate it.
Okay. You're welcome.
You know what? I'd like to say something. We had the Providence scanning. We had a lot of people from New York. And Eduardo tried to reach out to people and, see if we get some New Yorkers involved. And he didn't get a whole lot of people, but we'd love to have New York get involved, so close to New England. We also got Mike Mason, who used to be in New York. So, all those who are on the call from New York, it's an easy trip for you, on train. So, if you can, get involved. All right?
I'm going to come to Oregon next. Hi, Oregon.
Hi, Ella. It's Amy. I don't really have a question, but I could think of one really quick. I was wondering about people from the West Coast, the left coast, getting out to outside of Massachusetts. So it sounds like it's going to be in a suburb outside of Massachusetts. And I would love to attend. It's just fun, it's money. And I'm not the only one. I know there's a number of us on the left coast that don't have money either to fly out there and all that. It's mostly the flight, the getting there, the transportation. I know it could be $500-600, to round trip. That's a lot. lot of money for a lot of us. So
can I say something? about
well,
that?
I'd just like to finish. So I've been thinking on the phone the last 5 minutes how to organize something on the West Coast so that people in California and Pacific Northwest and all the other states, the western states, can come. And so that we'll have an opportunity too. So I'm going to be thinking about it and talking to a couple of people, a couple of activists here in the area, and on the West Coast, and see if we can come up with something and see what I can come up with. I know there's centers around here which are reasonably priced, and it's all a matter of getting people on the West Coast to come up to Oregon. It's a lot cheaper here in Oregon than in California to have something like this. So I would hope that the people from California, which are a lot of us in California, would come up to Oregon. That's what I want to say, and if anyone has anything to say about that, please do. I'd love to know if anyone's interested in that. So that's it. Thank you. Thanks, Ella.
Yeah. You know what I'd like to say is some of the cheapest flights there are Boston to California.
It's true.
It costs a lot more to go to the Midwest, Texas, or anywhere else. I've always gone out to California because it is so cheap. In fact, I've mostly flown for like 300 or 300 and change. You know, I've even flown for 200 and change.
Yeah, you can take a look at check the different websites, and of course, if you purchase it a little sooner than later, it's going to be less expensive, and and the days you choose kind of will kind of dictate the rates that you will be offered as well. So if you pick the right days, that's something I can tell everybody about. If you're really serious and interested in flying out there, I'll have to just jog my memory. Certain days definitely are cheaper than others. So, and then staying over a weekend, making sure you go back on a certain day. So I'll do my best to kind of recollect the best way to get a deal and kind of present that next week or even this Thursday.
Yak, all those different sites. We've gone to California quite a bit, and I've gotten really good prices out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like I say, if you're coming out, you need to be picked up at the airport. Let me know, and I'll come get you.
Okay. Thank you.
And that was one of the reasons too. We thought we were just going to have a video, that we can have online afterwards as well. Because we do know that it's not always easy to, get as across the country or travel to wherever. But we did talk about making this an annual thing too, and maybe having it in different places each year, kind of thing as well.
Oh, that's a good idea. That sounds like a really great idea. Okay, so I'm going to go to New York. Hi, New York.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well.
That's good. That was Pete speaking, right, from Massachusetts?
Yes.
Pete.
Rhode Island. Same thing, really.
Hello, Pete.
Hi.
Listen, your email still starts with TRE?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to send you something, and, I'm going to correspond. I want to get some information.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure the email is still the same.
Yep, it is. It is.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Okay.
All right, so you'll be sending, since I get overwhelmed with so much email, can I give out another email as well? For anyone who wants to send it. It's annahay@gmail.com. That's, if anyone wants to grab a pen, go ahead. But it's ONORHAY. It's like Anna, like eBay. Take the H and add AY at the end. So it's ONORHAY@gmail.com. And, of course, that other one works, too. But if you could send it to both, it's just the Anna Hay is less crowded, and I'll be able to access things better.
Okay, will do.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
Okay, I'm going to go to Central Coastal California. Hi, California.
Hi, this is Sam. I was just wondering, I had a question. I actually was thinking about this before this conference call, and now that we're talking about a conference in Boston, I think it relates. I wonder, why do you think the perps are letting us do these things? Like, why are they letting us do conference calls, or if they attacked us to the point where they ruined our conference in Boston? Because I've been punished for doing things that make me happy, that they just want to see me suffer, and like they've tried to control like relationships that I've had, and they just punish me for things like that. So why do you think they would let us do, like, why are they letting us do conference calls without attacking us to the point where we can't do the conference call or do the conference call?
Can I answer this one? Because I had an international call. We had people from China and Russia. In China, we couldn't even, the ISAAC group, we had to pick that name because they couldn't even use certain words. And then even after we did that, they weren't able to come on the call anymore. We do have more freedoms than Russia and China. They're trying to say that we still have freedoms, even though this is really tough. But believe me, Russia and China have it worse. They get locked up. They disappear. So, we don't have it well, and I'm not trying to say we do by any means, but, there's still in America and Europe that sense of we have freedoms. And so I think that's why we get away with it.
But I'm not talking about getting locked up. I'm talking about getting attacked with directed energy weapons, which they can get away with. I'm just wondering what's stopping them from doing that. Do you think there is actually some kind of the laws they have to follow, even though they're breaking the law?
Yeah. Well, I just kind of explained it. They still want to believe that we are a free nation. And clearly what we're going through is horrendous, but, they still want to believe that, we're more free in America. And so, people, as I heard one time, they said, that's right, he's got the freedom of speech, and we get the freedom to kick his ass for it. So that's where you are.
Okay, so I'm going to come.
But they will attack you for things that, like, they will attack me for even like a thought that I'll have that they won't like. Like, they'll read my thoughts and then they'll attack me for that. That's not very American.
Every time we do something, we get our ass kicked. When we had the Philadelphia conference, we got our ass kicked. We still had it.
I see. Well, thank you guys for. I wish I could make this conference, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. I live in California, so I won't be able to make it. It's too expensive for me, but I really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Okay, thank
you.
They're
going to record it, and I hope you'll get a chance to watch the recording, and maybe the following year, will
it be on YouTube?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, they plan on recording it, from what I understand.
That's the plan.
Is that correct, Alli?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay. That way everybody can watch it and, be able to see and experience it the best, in a different way if they're not able to attend.
Oh, my gosh.
Not only that, everyone out there, we'd like you to send in a little video that we put together so that everyone's represented. We may also bring people in on Skype, let's say you want to get together in Oregon and have a group get together and you want to call in to our conference. We want to try to set that up. So, this is what we did in the Mid-Atlantic conference. We pulled in Derek, and Derek did a great PowerPoint presentation on all the writers and actors, movie stars that are targeted. We also brought in Dr. Henning Witte from Sweden to talk about scalar waves, and we hope to do more of that with this one.
Hey, just to tag off of that gentleman who asked what's stopping participants to the conference from getting attacked, and the answer to that question is simple. There's nothing there's nothing to stop them, but you have all these TIs that know what you're going through, that share the same experiences, to bear witness to what's happening to you. And that's very, very powerful. That's powerful because it's evidentiary. There's someone there to see what's going on with you and maybe someday testify on your behalf. So if you're worried about getting targeted more, I'd say forget that, because you're going to a place with more TIs understand you, where you have the courage and strength to keep on fighting like they are themselves. I went to go visit Kate Ryan in her house, and Peter Rosenhelm was there. Carla Smith was there, and I was hammered. But you know what? I walked away from that meeting, that 2-day meeting with them, feeling better than I ever have, because the courage and the strength that they gave me and the sharing experiences was well worth what I went through. So if you're worried about retaliation, I'd say forget that, because you're getting a lot more from this conference, from meeting other TIs, from networking and so forth.
You want to know something? I did, I don't know, 4 or 5 bioethics by now. SAC Harp, billboards, the scanning all over the country. I got targeted less doing things. They have more respect for somebody who takes an ass kicking and does things than if you hide. That's my belief. So stand up, everybody.
Okay. Sorry, I'm a little distracted as usual. Okay, I'm going to go to Northwest California. Go ahead, Northwest California. You have a question?
I just wanted to say, hi, this is Kim. I just wanted to say, with the activism, at first they may try to, they might hit us more with directed energy weapons and try to scare us. But, if we have the mindset that it's not going to bother us, they actually back off. That's been my experience. They actually back off, and the targeting actually becomes less when we do activism. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
That's the reality. You will get an ass kicking probably at the end of it, but it won't last very long. You'll get over it.
We don't know. Sometimes the more you speak out, who knows? I don't like to discourage people. You never know.
No,
Okay.
Fred Bell seemed to think that, he wouldn't be targeted on Jesse Ventura's, video, Brain Invaders, and then I got filmed by them. And they said their expert dropped out. So clearly, if you're a scientist, you've signed non-disclosure, stuff like that, like Robert Duncan, he's got to watch what he says. He's at risk. He's signed contracts, but the majority of us aren't in that situation. And really, there is a big difference right there. So you should know where you stand. If you sign non-disclosure contracts, then you are more at risk, and be careful.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. Okay, so I'm going to go to Northeast California again. Hi.
Hi, this is Tomo.
Oh, hi, Tomo.
Yeah, I was wondering if perhaps we could invite those who, not TIs, but those who can make great influence or change, render significant change on our cause. Like, for example, legislative personnel, or this psychologist or psychiatrist who writes the chapter on delusional disorder and paranoid schizophrenia in the psychiatric textbook on psychiatry that every medical student reads in the U.S., for example, over the media. So I was wondering if that kind of efforts are already made as well, inviting those who are not necessarily TIs, but those who would make a critical change, who are in the position to help us.
Hi, Toma. That's a great idea. That's been brought up to us before. I think that's a great idea. My only hesitation is, I've heard that some of the conferences that have been put together before in the past, that there's, certain degrees of unprofessional things that happen. And I just want to make sure, since this is the first time that I've done something like this, I want to make sure to be presenting, when we start really inviting the public. And, I've invited just some non-TI friends and family, just to help my personal case, really. But, and I'm not opposed to inviting, starting to invite some of the psychiatric community, starting to invite, maybe some local law enforcement or, different people who we think we can get on our side. But I just want to make sure that we're making the most professional possible presentation to these people. Since I don't know what to expect doing this for the first time, that's my only possible hesitation, because I've just heard some kind of horror-ish stories, I guess, of times when this has been done in the past, and maybe there's certain people that attend that aren't presenting the best front for our case, I think, if that makes sense.
This wouldn't be the time to do it. If that situation come up, we'd want to put up a team that, like you said, would put on the best front. This is for everybody to come and relax and maybe cry or whatever they're going to do, as they meet people and who've been through what they've been through. I think you got the right idea, Allison.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'm definitely, I'd like to find out, I guess, because I have had that suggestion by other people as well. So, and I think it's a great idea, and obviously that's the whole point, is to try to, unite, strategize, figure out a way that we can, gain some credibility here. I just want to make sure that we're doing it strategically.
Yeah, I just wonder, so we're not up to the point where we can present this matter to those who are not in the TI community, or those who are not TI but in the position to make a significant progress on our behalf?
I mean, I don't know. I just don't know what to, I guess, expect, being that I haven't done, haven't seen this type of conference before. And I've heard, like I said, that I've heard other people talk about how in other conferences in the past, maybe there were some of the attendees that maybe weren't on the most professional behavior, and maybe wouldn't give the best case to gaining credibility. But I don't know. So I mean, I want to get other people's opinion on that. If you guys, I'm not opposed to really promoting it with people who can help our case. I think that's a great idea. But is this venue going to be the best opportunity to do that? I don't know. It sounds like Peter thinks probably not, but I'm open to the different people that are involved in it. I know we have you listed as a speaker, I believe, too. And there's been other speakers who have expressed the same thing, and I think it's a really great idea. I don't know, what do other people think? Maybe we can open it up and see other people's opinion on that.
Yeah, or some other organizations that which do have some merging interests, like Citizens Commission on Human Rights, that works on the rights of those with psychological disability. Or possibly ACLU. I don't know if they're ready yet, but EFF, Electronic Frontier Foundation. I think our progress would make a greater progress in our movement, I guess, if we do interact with those organizations and individuals who could make a critical change on our behalf. My concern has been that we kind of end up keep talking among ourselves, and that really does, by interacting with what is outside of us, it probably will produce the most change. So,
I think that's a great idea. Is Kate, are you still on? Is Kate Ryan still on?
I'm here, yes.
Kate, what are your thoughts on this? And do you, what do you think about, inviting some of the local, organizations like Tom was recommending, and B, do you, by any chance, have any of the contacts at any of these organizations, like the Citizens Commission of Human Rights, ACLU?
The only thing I can tell you right now, my feeling is, I have in the very near future a potential meeting with someone who may be able to be very influential in the medical field, but whether or not this person's going to be ready to do anything like that, I can't tell you until we meet up, because we've agreed not to talk on the phone. So if this person were all of a sudden thinking this is a good idea, this could happen in the fall, but I can't guarantee it at this point. All I can say is that's my wish that I could do that, but it wouldn't be a situation where I think it should be the main focus. I think we would have to determine whether or not it should be just a small group of people to meet with this person and give feedback and have them prepared for the next time that we did this in a bigger way, maybe. Okay. That type of thing. But I think the way to answer that question, Tomo, is I think we're headed in that direction, and there's some positive things happening that have me excited. But that's about all I can tell you at this point.
I see. For example, William Binney and Kirk Wiebe, they're not quote unquote directly TIs, but they have a merging interest with us.
Mm-hmm. And in actuality, being whistleblowers, to me, they fit into part of the definition of a targeted person, just a little differently.
Yeah, different. Yeah. Not covert per se, not in
right.
Continuous manner, but I guess they are in a way.
I think this group crosses over into the medical research category, whereas they were just retaliation group.
Mm-hmm. Right, and those kind of individuals, who do have access to the media, who are actually well received in the media. They can help us a lot. Yeah, and one person I studied is Carl Cohen, MD, psychiatrist, distinguished service professor from State University of New York. I think Cohen, Cohen. I emailed this day as well, but
And whereabouts in New York? Which location?
Downstate, so New York City.
Okay, yeah, because what we could do is at some point maybe I can talk to this person about contacting that person, because what we need to do is develop a network within their own group to feel a sense of strength and unity.
Yeah,
that's how we get them networked, although I already have some other people that might be supportive of this person I'm going to meet, but I don't know yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, Seth Farber is already, I think he knows Dr. Cohen, Carl Cohen, and Cohen, and he does write a chapter on the delusional disorder, paranoid schizophrenia in this standard psychiatry textbook used in almost every medical school in the U.S. So maybe we can invite Seth and Dr. Cohen at the same time on possible revision of the this psychiatry textbook, standard textbook, for example, and also the media too. But for example, Intercept, they do have emerging interests as well, like similar interests. So those, I don't know if you could think of those, media in the psychiatry and also legislation.
That definitely we need to start talking to them. I think networking with groups of that nature. I also think we should be networking with Vets for Peace, for example, because a lot of them, I think have, from what I saw when I went to Boston at one time, was that there were Vets for Peace there, and they also were targeted. They were mostly targeted with stalking versus, and disinformation campaigns versus electronic harassment, but a few of them had both. Okay, and usually because they were in multiple organizations that they had both. So, we do need to spend more time networking. We just need to do it in an appropriate way that doesn't, you know how it is when sometimes people approach people the wrong way. It turns them off, and that's the end of that.
Right, and also we should approach people who does have a capacity to help us too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're great, and yeah, I think we could be selective about that as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I think little by little, some of the community that was in the intelligence community is beginning to acknowledge this a little bit. And keep in mind that a lot of them can't acknowledge it because they would be in prison for 30 years. So we have to understand why they're not. Most of them have families. That's the last thing they want to do is destroy their children's future as well as their own future. So, they're afraid.
Sure. Yeah, but that's my
the medical field, there are some people that know very much about this and have been willing to talk about it. Maybe not to the degree that we want them to, but they can plant the seeds. And with what Bill and Kirk are doing for us right now, in addition to these other people that are also networked with them, and at least the people that they are networked with, it's going to come together. There's no doubt in my mind it will.
All right, thanks. I'm done. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about it more, and
sure.
I'll fill you in when I know more.
Great. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Tomo.
Yep.
Okay, guys, let's see. Start at the top here. A lot of callers. Okay. Okay, Andrea, just try to keep your questions short. Can't get her unmuted. Hold on just a second. Hi, Andrea.
Oh, Kate, I just have to say thank you so much. That just is so helpful. And I just really appreciate hearing you say that. It changes my perspective so much. And I'm so thankful for all of you that are working so hard. I didn't know about this conference, and it would be helpful in this call if once in a while you could remind the new people that are coming on what this conference is and where it is and who's putting it on and what it's called, because I got in a little bit late. So I'd like to hear that, and I would like to try to go. And I would also like to say that in terms of the psychological community, I know there are some groups that have tried really hard on their own, but they're so small that they're not making much headway, or they have so many issues that it's hard for them. It's as hard for them as it is for us. One is the mindfreedom.org group, or they might be .net, I don't know. But Mind Freedom is, I have talked to them, and they were suffering when I talked to them, but they're trying hard. And also Peter Bregan, I don't know if Dr. Bregan could help us, but he's really been on this side of things for all his life. I mean, he's really been trying to talk about empathetic therapy, which I think is really, and being able to look at people in the face and talk to them is hugely important. And then there was MAD, that group of psychologists and people that are working against psychiatric drugs and things. It's called MAD in America. And I think they're trying hard too, and they could be very helpful. All of these groups see the dangers of psychiatric drugs that want to creep in and make money off of people who are just, vulnerable. So thank you so much for doing this. If there's anything I can do to help, I would so like to help and participate. I just think this is an amazing group of people. So thank you so much.
Well, thanks, Andrea. I hope you're able to make it out there. And I know we're trying to get some people that work in the mental health field. I know Dr. Seth Barber, but he was invited. Am I correct, Alli?
Yeah, actually, I do think we did invite him.
Okay. Hopefully he'll be able to attend. That's definitely an area that pertains to our community. Okay, I'm going to come to New York now.
You know what? Could I say one thing for Alli? Cheryl Welsh is the head of that Mind Free group, and wouldn't hurt to contact her for this.
I think we did email her too. I'll make sure though.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, hi.
Hi, I'm Dee from New York, and I've been listening, and I want to thank everybody. I really think you're doing a tremendous helping effort to everybody that is a PI. I am a PI myself, and I'm in a position of not being able to attend. However, I believe it was Peter that said that videos would help somebody that cannot attend. I'm a caregiver of somebody that's handicapped, and I cannot be away from the person. And I really would like to attend by way of video. So if you can please leave the moderators or whoever we have to contact for those that are present in spirit that cannot attend. And I want to thank everybody for the tremendous effort.
Your phone is very difficult. Maybe it's just on my end. I'm having a little bit of difficulty hearing you, but I think we can make out what you're saying.
I just want to keep it short, and I want to thank everybody for doing this effort for every PI that's out there. And myself, I thank you so much. If you can please give contacts for anybody that's sending in a video also for this conference, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Thanks for your compliments and your comments. Okay. You guys have anything to add?
Well, back to, I believe it was Peter who said that you get hammered if you join or if you become active in something. It's just, I want to make everybody understand that it's just all part of the psyops. It's all part of trying to discourage and frustrate you to the point that you just become a nothing and get settled into a corner. And that's the objective there. The objective is because human psychology is to become validated. So anytime you do something good, like Peter said, you become hammered. And that's to take away validation, to reduce the person to nothing. That's the objective. So I want to make it clear that every PI that's out there, that's your fighting spirit, and nobody can take that away from you. And that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Just trying to find the question. I'm just going to go ahead and go to the next.
Could I say something about that? What she just said.
Oh.
It is true. Sometimes you get hit after you do something a little bit, but I think on the whole, your targeting is less. I really do. And also what I'd like to say about Cheryl Welsh, I mentioned her just a few minutes ago, was she was on the History Channel's show on mind control. I don't know if everyone out there has seen that, and Dr. Jonathan
Yes.
Marino's on there. Colonel John B. Alexander, who heads this mind control program. They had BrainGate at Brown University in Rhode Island over here. It's something everyone should look at.
Yes, I agree. Because before they implement this, they study you, they bring up files, and they study you, they do a complete 360 up and down. So by the time you're actually acknowledging it, they have studied this. And this is what they call mind control. And it's just basically a textbook study. And I urge every PI out there to resist this game, and I am very grateful for this networking to help all the PIs. And thank you, and have a good night.
Nice.
Okay. I'm going to come back to another Northwest California. Hi there.
Hi. I was going to reiterate what I said before. When we do targeting, actually becomes less. But what I wanted to suggest, I think if we go talk to these organizations, government officials, etc., and we go there with a video camera in hand, and if they do not do anything to help us, then we can just post that video everywhere we can, and that would be good proof to the general public that we tried to appeal to government legislators, etc., stuff like that, and they're not willing to help us, and then we just post that everywhere. I think that would be the best thing that we could do. I yield.
Thank you. I'm going to mute your noise, or somebody's does. That's hers. Do you have any more questions about the conference? Okay, I'm going to go to 657.
Hi. Hi, everyone. This is Cece. I just heard a gal say that, I don't know, I think she meant demonstrations. And I recall Dr. Robert Duncan saying that he blames the CIA for most of this. I think we should demonstrate in front of the CIA and park ourselves there, or any, or maybe, I don't know, the NSA. But I think it's the CIA, just because that's what Dr. Robert Duncan said. If they're doing this, then that's where we need to go demonstrate. And also, I think it was David Voits that indicated that some in the military are sitting behind computers doing this stuff to us. If that's the case, then let's demonstrate in front of recruiting offices. Let's bring it on home. You know, I think it was Derek that said our elect can't do anything, which I don't believe that. I think that they can strong arm them with money and probably other tactics. But if they're not going to do anything, if they're going to pretend like as though they can't do anything, then let's demonstrate in front of those who we know or we've been told are directly responsible for our targeting. That would be the CIA, and that would be the military, or the military-industrial complex. The problem is with the MIC, we don't know unless somebody else knows for sure. Other than Karen Stewart, she said that Lockheed Martin is her investigator indicated that Lockheed Martin has 47 groups in 47 states there are groups organized for organized stalking against the public or citizens of this nation. You know, if that's the case, then let's demonstrate in front of their facility. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Right. Appreciate the input. Okay, California. I'm going to come to you. Hi, California.
Hi, Ella. This is Linda. I don't know where we are in terms of the interviewing process, but I need to talk. But I want you to tell me when I should talk. I'm just letting you know this one is me.
Can you wait a little bit? We're going to talk about the conference, and we're supposed to do. Do you think you can hold out for a little bit?
Yeah, I do have a question. I just want to put out to the people. I'm currently in Santa Cruz, and if there's anybody that is out in this direction who might be interested in meeting with me for a half an hour or an hour tonight or tomorrow, please let me know when I get back on the call. So I'll just say that, Ellen, and then you can put me back on. There is something really, really bad going on, and I need a little bit of help for 30 to 60 minutes. If anyone's out here, or I can go and drive, an hour or two away from here. I don't know who's up in this area, but I'm in Santa Cruz, so that's what I'm going to say. So I can drive out to meet somebody if anyone's available tonight or tomorrow.
Well, I'm glad you're reaching out, and I have your number, too. So if someone wants to reach her and you have my number, my email, feel free to call me and contact me. I hope you were able to reach out to a couple of people, the names and numbers I gave you. So, just hang on.
Derek has my number also. Derek has my number also, and Linda Costanzo has my number. So those all those. If somebody wants to contact me, you can call any of those people. They have my number, not in addition to Ella. Okay, then you come back to me, Ella. So something really bad is going on. Thank you.
If she comes towards Sacramento, I'll meet with her. I'll meet with you, Linda. If you happen to get up this way, I will meet with you.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to Terry again. Hi, Terry.
Say, you guys were talking about maybe real or reach other people, and so this isn't really a question, it's a suggestion. From my days of gaming, I used to be a really involved gamer, played World of Warcraft for a long time. You guys could use like a Twitch or something to broadcast through that internet TV while you had the conference. I know some of them will allow you 100,000 people at free or pretty cheap to nothing. It's just a suggestion for you guys.
Thank you for that. Suggestions are always welcome.
Terry, what is Twitch?
Terry.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on what I'm not familiar with it? Can you elaborate on what it is? What is Twitch?
Okay, Twitch was a program that I used. It's kind of like YouTube Live, except Twitch had a lot more features and stuff. And when we went and did things online like gaming, or we went and did big dungeons and stuff, we broadcasted so people could get on. We never got large amounts, maybe a couple hundred at a time once in a while watching us. But it would be a venue that you guys could use to broadcast the conference through, and then people could log on to your Twitch channel and watch full screen if they got their TV hooked up or through their computers, their phones. They could virtually watch it anywhere they could get onto the internet from.
Great. I think that's a great suggestion. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Terry. Okay, so I'm going to go to Lily. Hi, Lily.
Hey, Ella. It's Lisa. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, just not having a good night here at all, and I'm just really thinking, it's okay. You know how it goes. It's just the same every day. But anyway, except for those bright spots. But I am thinking about the conference, and I am thinking that I'm trying to think positively about it, but tonight they're really hitting me with a lot of negatives and down kinds of feelings. But what I'm thinking, though, is that if we're trying to reach targets and educate targets, many of us who are already on these calls have already become educated through the years. I know myself, about 2 years, 2.5 years of these calls. And what I'm thinking is, I wondered if possibly we could have some segment of it directed, and I know I'll get a lot of opposition to this, but directed towards our family and friends, to educate them, at least the ones who are willing to come. There might be some of them who are like on the fence, or if they hear that other family members are coming of the other targets, might be willing to go. Because I'm thinking we need support, as much as we can around our family and friends, and I do realize some of them will not turn around no matter what we say, no matter what we do. But again, there might be some on the fence. And I know that one time I was on, I think it was Linda's call, and Terry, I think it was, had his mom on, and his mom was so supportive of him. So there are some parents and some children and some family members and friends who are supportive of us. They are few and far in between, but there are some. And I'm thinking if possibly they could go and have a few words of wisdom, and perhaps, could reach out to the other family members who are like on the fence-ish, because I would think if they're willing to go, they'd at least be on the fence. So to me, that would be very nice if we could do anything under the sun to possibly help us pull those family and members and friends who might be willing to listen to us or understand us or anything, at any level. And then that was one thing. And then the other thing about the conference I thought would be good too would be if we could possibly have a segment on countermeasures, just devoted to countermeasures, because I know we talk a lot about what is this and what is that and what is the other, and to me it's just all sickening just to hear and learn it, and I know it's important that we do, but at other times I'm also wanting to hear more about, I know Catherine Horton had a few videos what we could do to counter, some of the psychological stuff, and just in general, perhaps talking about detox, the physical shielding as well as the psychological. We have a lot on the physical shielding, but we don't have very much on what we can do psychologically as well, and maybe even a spiritual element for those who might be interested in that. So, anything like that I think would be good too. I mean, in a nutshell, what I'm saying is if we could have a little bit directed toward family and friends, education, and possibly some speakers of the few and far in between who do support us, and something on countermeasures, I think would be a tremendous addition, or something to do in the future, if not at this conference. So that's basically all I wanted to say, and thank you again for having the call, and the people who are planning the conference. It's amazing that we're doing this, and I think it's wonderful, and a lot of accolades to you guys, and gratefulness, and I'll yield the floor. That's really all I had to say.
Thank you. It was great.
I think those are two really great points. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ella. But I just wanted to mention that I think I will actually add that maybe onto the website and onto like my letter of the invitation and everything to invite family and friends, because I think that is a great idea. I personally have invited my husband and a couple of like non-TI friends, that I wanted to just educate about this kind of stuff as well. So, and I'll mention that. And when I, am kind of launching it on the different calls and stuff, I'll mention that as well, because I think that is a really good point. And I can add a bullet. I didn't have anything on here, you're right, about like shielding or anything yet, but I think calling it countermeasures too is like a good broad brush to paint, and then, like you said, encompassing, we can encompass shielding, detox, spiritual, psychological, anything that can kind of help to countermeasure the torture. We can definitely try to include that in the conference. I think that's a realistic thing to try to include for this year. So I can work on that as well.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's really wonderful. Thanks again.
Yeah, I think those are two really good points.
Here. Well, I think we're good on the questions, so I think we can go to, it shows that someone's raising their hand. Wait a minute, here we go, Oregon. Hi, Oregon. Oregon? Okay. Is there any other comments you guys want to make on the conference before we transition into your interview? Allie?
I think we're good. Is it too late? I mean, we don't have to do the interview tonight. It's up to you. If you want me to, I have no problem sharing my story. Peter has a really good story too, as does Kate as well. If they want to, share their stories too.
Well, yeah, they probably want to prepare a little bit, but yeah, let's go ahead and we still have a little bit of time because basically an interview can take an hour and then the Q&As come afterwards. But we can just keep it kind of short if you want. So. Let me just have a little delay, so maybe I can break up this portion of it. Just give me like a 30-second delay of quiet, and then we'll go ahead and transition into it. Okay, so we have Alli Frances here on the call with us, and she's going to tell a little bit about her story and give us her testimony. So first off, you're spearheading the conference that's going on. Maybe for the sake of people who just came on the call, as well as just for this part of the recording, do you want to give us the information, just the dates and the time, and maybe some website information? We'll just keep it short.
Sure. So I don't have the website up yet, but it's in Boston. It's going to be October 21st and Saturday and Sunday, October 22nd. We're working with a number of different organizations, putting together this conference. The goal is to try to unite the community. Our intent is to have a video afterwards of the conference that we can put up online. Try to create kind of a one-stop shop for targeted individuals to learn about technology, resources, activism, support networks, scanning, lawsuit, and receive hope for a solution to end their torture.
Well, I think that's much needed. And what made you decide to do this? What inspired you, and how did you get it going? Because you're basically the one who spearheaded it, so I'd like to hear how that came about.
Part of it is just my desire to learn as much as I can. Relatively new to all this. I started getting targeted 2 years ago, and I think it was just the beginning of this year where I kind of learned about PACs and about the targeted individual community and, what it meant to be a targeted individual. I knew right from the beginning that I didn't have a mental illness and that what I was experiencing was, someone somewhere doing this to me. But I didn't really have any kind of understanding of what it was. When obviously I was able to learn a lot once I started kind of getting on these calls and learning from people. And, I think it just stemmed from a desire to learn as much about it as I can myself personally and, to educate the people around me and, from there do what we can to try to bring this forward to the world.
Oh, great. So when exactly did you start to realize that something was going on? What year was that, and where were you living? And what did your life look like at that point or at that time?
Yeah, so I was 34 right before my 35th birthday. No history of any kind of mental illness, just a very happy, upbeat, outgoing person, no depression ever, just a very happy person, not even like postpartum. I have 3 small children after having my children. I was living in New Hampshire with my husband and my 3 children, and it really just, for me, it just happened overnight. You
said it happened overnight. What is it that occurred?
Yeah, so my experience really follows the same pattern that like John Hall describes in the Guinea Pigs book. I've heard Julianne McKinney, the former Army intelligence officer who ran the Electronic Surveillance Project and wrote the Microwave Harassment and Mind Control Experimentation, describe in a radio interview. So there's like this, it's kind of an established harassment protocol, it seems like, that begins with surveillance, systemic harassment, and then the electronic harassment. John Hall was quoted saying the overwhelming majority of experiencing this methodical progression of experimentation fits into the template. Targeted individuals are experiencing a form of experimentation. It follows the progression of phases: selection, surveillance, stalking, defamation, attack, and monitoring. So kind of started with the selection surveillance, October 2015. So it was about a month before the attack. I began to hear voices softly first, just kind of making mean, hurtful comments throughout the day, say I did something stupid or embarrassing or misspelled a text. I'd hear a girl's voice making fun of me. I started, at the beginning, I was thinking, okay, this is just my own, insecurities, maybe somehow like manifesting as a voice in my head. This went on for about a month before the, I guess, what I call attack, the defamation attack, electronic harassment phase. So this was really like 8 to 9 months of living hell. It started one night. I was lying in bed with my husband, and I heard what sounded like 5 to 6 people in my neighborhood. And I want to preface this by, even though the V2K has for the past couple of years said that this is people that live around me, I do not believe that. I don't know if it is or it isn't. I mean, this is just, but I don't necessarily think just because I've heard something in my head that that's the truth. But, in my head, the voices that they put in my head, which I know that they can make people's voices because I've heard them, make voices of my loved ones in my head. And then, later, find out that it was just a skit that they put on. So they, made it a number of people in my neighborhood. They were hacking into my computer in their skit that they were doing. There was, I heard them pulling up old emails and text messages, reading them out loud. They were kind of like of an embarrassing nature. And, I woke my husband. I'm like, do you hear that? And I could hear this as loud as somebody sitting in a room next to me. So at first, like the girl's voice in the very beginning was kind of more of like I hear it both ways, where it's more of the subliminal kind of thing. And then, sometimes I call it turn up the volume, and it's as loud as literally somebody sitting in the room right next to me. I woke my husband up. I said, can you hear that? Like, can you hear them talking? And he's like, what do you, thinking maybe somebody was outside the window. And my husband's like, I can't hear anything. What are you talking about? So I hired private investigators, spent over $3,000, to come look for bugs, to see if I could try to find anything in the house. I didn't know what I was looking for at this point, obviously. I didn't realize that the technology was on me, not in the house. Also hired like a so-called computer expert to look through my phone, wasn't able to find anything either, obviously. So it wasn't until I saw the Monarch, the New Phoenix Program documentary by Marshall Thomas that I really realized, I got a better understanding of what I was experiencing, that it was, state-of-the-art microwave and radio frequency weapons. I heard all of the techniques that they describe in this film were very familiar. The tape-recorded messages that they play over and over and over again is in a loop. Psychic driving is described in the documentary and other books that I've read. The synthetic telepathy, psychotronics that I've been hearing, the low-wave frequency, silent sound, unfortunately leaves no trace. So it's really difficult to prove. Someone has been using some different techniques, Michael Persinger's affected emotions, so I also believe, I felt something that felt like I was drugged significantly with what felt like LSD a number of times. So throughout this torture phase, this was like almost every couple of days I felt like I was drugged. The psychic driving, I think I said that there, where they repeat the same word over and over again, different intervals throughout the day. At one point, so, at this point I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, going days on end without sleeping. They'd keep me up literally the entire night, just like screaming the most horrible things that you can imagine in my head, yelling, screaming, just awful, horrible things. They told me to go to New York, which I ended up doing, and while I was in New York, I was really severely drugged. My car was stolen. That night I felt something I was unable to explain, so I felt like my whole body was numb, and I couldn't move, and I felt like I was being raped. Not that anybody was there, and at this point I hadn't been intimate with my husband for months because I felt like somebody was watching us, and I was so freaked out, and it was some sort of virtual reality. So I've been told the Monarch programming virtual torture can be used instead of actual torture. So this is, it's just a way that they used to kind of torture you. It's also, this was also kind of described in Robert Duncan's book too. He talked about this phantom touch rape in Project Soul Catcher.
Right.
I also believe, I think I mentioned the altered emotions. Sometimes I'll just, I would go through like this like extreme anxiety, paranoia, or just start like crying or screaming uncontrollably. Smirnoff patents, subliminal messages to broadcast rage or fear, manipulate behavior, tinnitus, also very common, obviously. And sometimes the voices would talk about specific things that I'd later read about in books that I read, so I'd find references of like certain phrases. So like in the very beginning, I heard them call me a diamond in the rough, and then later read that was a slave engaged in programming via torture conditioning. Other things I've heard when they turn up the volume, that is what I call it, when I can hear them, talking as loud as somebody being in the room next to me. Other random quotes, watching us, watching you, the camera is the one that brings you light. I'm guessing this is like referencing like how the government and businesses and universities, how they, have the clearances to watch us, over the camera or computer or through the remote neural monitoring. Once I heard them taking shift changes in real time, indicating that they were on the Eastern time zone. Once after asking what they're doing this for, what they want, they said, in a loud voice, some are looking for girlfriends, some are looking for boyfriends, some are looking for the holies. I don't know, I'm assuming maybe holies are people that think it's the voice of God. This is just a guess. I heard Desiree on your call talking about how her ex would say they start a sentence, you finish it. They used to do that to me all the time. My 6-year anniversary was one of the strongest doses of hallucinogenics as well. I had the 2D hallucination, or not hallucination, but hologram, 2D hologram. It was they put a cartoon character from one of my son's cartoons. It was like the sloth from the DMV from Zootopia, totally random. I have no idea. But I think maybe they wanted to show me, hey, we can do this. They were showing me the different technology. That night there was also like a female voice who the entire night was saying the most horrible things you can even imagine, just like my children were being raped, and that they were the most awful things that you can even imagine. I did actually the next morning go to the neighbor's house just to ask them if they knew anything. Still kind of regret doing that. Nothing ever came of it, but like I said, I don't want to think just because they're blaming certain people in my head that's who it necessarily is. Innocent until proven guilty. I don't know who's doing this to me. I've been to the state police, the local police, the FBI, so multiple times, didn't get anywhere with that. I don't know. It sounds like Midge had a little bit better luck now that I do have my scan. Maybe I'll try again. But the severe torture with the drugging, the rape, all that kind of stuff, like the severe torture, it really lasted only about 8 months. And then it really just kind of stopped almost as suddenly as it came. I still have VTK, but it's kind of a minimal harassment. They'll just kind of say, hey, we're watching you. But I'm very, very, very lucky and very blessed. I've never been physically tortured. And I'm still harassed, but the torture only lasted about 8 or 9 months. So I feel like I'm in a really good place, to really do what I can, because just this whole experience just enrages me that this is happening. And I say to them sometimes, I do the side talking where they're talking and then you talk back to them. In a way, I thank you for, as horrible as what you put me through was, you exposed me to this. And, now I know that this is happening and I know that this is real. And I'm going to dedicate my life to doing whatever I can to helping to prove it and helping to stop it. And I guess I should say probably my children are my biggest concern. My 5-year-old son, when he was 4, did say to me, Mommy, I have voices in my head. They told me not to love you. They said only to love Dad. So, obviously that, scares me that my children might possibly be in the program too. There's been a couple other things that they said here and there that have not been things that make sense coming from a child that small. I have identical twins as well. Identical twin girls. All my children are between the ages of 3 and 6. And I've been told that that's kind of a target age, and I've been told that maybe the identical twins might have something to do with it as well. I have been scanned. I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about my scan, because I know I'm obviously not going to mention any specific frequencies or companies or universities or colleges or anything, but the scan did indicate that there was elevated ELS, EMF frequencies and emissions coming from specific parts of my body, and radio frequencies coming in, transmitted via satellite. These frequencies are registered, FCC registered. So academic institutions, private companies for collaborative research. There's also seen a lack of thermal expression in my nose, indicating possible silicone implants and or nanotechnology. So, I don't want to say much more about the scanning stuff, because I know, Standingers kind of said to, you're not really supposed, I don't think I'm allowed to really talk about much, in case I do want to pursue legal action in the future. But it's real. It's and it's just a matter of strategizing a way to, the whole point is obviously to gaslight us and make us look like we have mental illnesses. So just come together, unite, strategize, figure out a way to present it to the world, to make us look credible. And I just want to do whatever I can to help that cause.
When you kind of started figuring out what was going on, who did you try to tell, and what was the response to you, or what was the reaction?
Everybody thought I was crazy. I didn't tell very many people. I really just, I talked to my husband, I talked to my mom, and I think their natural reaction was, you probably have a mental illness. I was in the hospital for like a 24-hour period. As I saw, it was funny, one of the first counselors I ever saw said, do you know somebody that works in the government? And this was before I'd even started doing any of the research, and I was so baffled by that question. And then I got a call, and I never even looked into it, which I really should, obituary, and but it was really the strangest thing, because I got a call afterwards, a few weeks later, that she had passed away, and I could no longer see her. My husband and my mom, and then I started telling, especially now that I've learned so much more about it, I've started talking to some of my close girlfriends about it. And my husband now, my mom still gets so angry, but I think that she might possibly be controlled as well, possibly, whenever I bring it up, just so angry. My husband is actually starting to come around, and I believe at this point believes in at least the technology, that it does exist, and I think he does believe that this is real. And I've been I think I have a couple of friends that I think are at the same place too. So
yeah, it seems really hard to convince people otherwise, but it seems like the more you start to understand the technology or the program, if you want to call it that, and what goes on, and you can share credible information, whether it be scientific or evidence or books that you can present or credible YouTube videos, it supports you. So it's always nice to have that. But initially, I think when we first start telling people, we don't have any of that, so we just sound crazy. And we barely even understand it ourselves. So I think, through education and educating ourselves, we're better capable and able to educate the people around us. That's been my experience, at least.
Yep.
It is
that's
hard.
Kind of what I was thinking of accomplishing with this conference.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. What else did I want to say? Shielding. What did you do? What have you tried, and what's worked for you, or what are some things you're interested in trying?
I don't know. To be honest, I really haven't done much. I just music. Sometimes, when the V2K is bothering me, I notice, if I just turn on any kind of music, that alleviates it. But I just try to ignore it and just go on with my day. I'm lucky, like I said, in the sense where I'm not physically tortured. It's just audio harassment, and I just tell myself it's just audio harassment. Don't believe anything that they say, and just go on with your day and try to ignore it.
Right. I agree. Well, I'm really happy to hear that it's kind of lessened for you, or it seems, fairly non-existent at this point. So that's great news. I don't hear that too often, but I've heard that. So I'm glad that's in your case. That's true. Okay. I guess I'm trying to think of what other questions I might have. So you've moved since then? Are you still living there, or what part of the?
No, still living in the same neighborhood, and I try at every opportunity I can to network as much as I want to try to meet the neighbors, especially if they're the perps or whatever, because I want them to get to know me. I want them to maybe feel bad about what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I know what you're saying. Sometimes, you wonder what they think about you, and sometimes you just want to approach them and just kind of for them to see and to listen to you. Maybe that what they think about you might be wrong, and it's also kind of an opportunity, I don't know, to share who you really are, and I sometimes will mention that I do human rights work and that I'm an activist, and I'll mention that there's some crimes going on, and there's human experimentation going on. I try all that.
I thought about inviting my neighbors to the conference.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, I don't. It's who knows? I don't necessarily believe that they are, just because my V2K said that they are the perps for the past couple of years anyway. But I think that the perps are fed a lot of misinformation.
Yeah, I think so too. I definitely think that's the case. Okay, well, how about, can I open it up for some questions?
Absolutely.
Okay, so these questions are for Alli here. Any questions you might have? Just star 8, and I will come to you. Terry. Hi, Terry.
Do you have does any of your family believe what's going on with you?
I think my husband's coming around. I do believe at this point my husband believes me, yes.
And has it changed any? Do you think part of your activism and getting involved in stopping this is helping out them to see it in a different light?
Yeah, maybe. I'm hoping. I'm hoping that he can come to the conference and learn, and I encourage all TIs to kind of like the other person that came on the call earlier, said, invite friends, invite family. I think they're obviously, a very important piece.
Are your parents still alive?
My mom is. My mom does not believe me, and is very, very adamantly does not believe me. I think there's a chance that she might possibly be a TI without knowing it. She has she's always had uncontrollable spells of emotion, where all of a sudden she'll just start crying hysterically, for no reason. I don't know. I have suspicion.
Have you took a copy of Ted Gunderson's affidavit and showed your husband?
No. No, maybe I should. Ted Gunderson?
Yeah. You can actually get that on my website if you want. Download the Freedom of Information copy. But I would suggest that if you did, I was just curious, I would let him read that, and that might help turn the odds there for you. I know my family was very interested in reading that information and stuff when I got them all to believe it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. That's really helpful.
Thanks, Terry. Okay. Central Coastal, California.
Hi, this is Sam again.
Hi.
Hi, this is Sam again. I was wondering, it's possible that I heard your story about, thank you for sharing, first of all. And I wanted to ask, it's possible that, do you guys think it's possible that it's not the neighbors? Because at first they were making, before I knew I was a TI, when they first started targeting me. With B2K, they started making me think that I could hear my neighbors' voices, and that my neighbors had somehow hacked into all my cell phone and my emails and my text messages. So, and like everything I was doing, I could hear them talking about me. So they were making me think it was my neighbors. But is it possible that they're doing it from very far away at their government agency, wherever, maybe CIA? Because I was even in an airplane, I was getting attacked very hard by directed energy weapons, and my whole body was like jerking and out of control. So I feel like they could do it even though they're very far away.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a very common theme that they blame the neighbors and they want everybody to believe it's the neighbors. Whether the neighbors have any involvement or not, I really don't know, but I have to just come at it with the approach that they do not. But I think that you're right. I think it's a very common theme that they try to feed us. I experience the same thing where I've been on airplanes, I've been across the country, I've been, I travel, I do medical sales and I travel in my car, covering multiple states, and it doesn't matter where I am, I still have B2K.
Hey, Allie, can I comment on this? Because I've been in TI for a really long time.
Please.
They were in my house. They rented off me. And I hung a chair from the ceiling, and the guy would go to work, and there were people up there. And they were surveillancing me. And then they were threatening me while I was reloading bullets, not reloading, refilling. And I thought, this is my opportunity to see if they react. And so they're telling me I'm screwed. I wish I was never born. I pointed a gun up, and I said, oh, yeah, motherfucker, you're dead. And he ran out of the house. Now, obviously, there were 3 or 4 of them up there. All right, but they reacted. So it can be people next door. Trouble is they will fake you out and have you go verbally get into it with your next door neighbor and everything, and it's really hard to tell. But, the ways I did it, I proved it without a doubt. So I just want to point that out because it does happen. But I'll leave it at that.
There have been comments here and there that lead me to believe that they might know something.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, agents aren't going to tell you, oh, yes, we're doing it to you, but they were people. In my day, it was like a long time ago. They did all the mind games like, hey, where's the guy in black? Yeah, I'm the guy in black. No, he lives in the house there, big guy. No, that's me. Oh, I got to go. I mean, they play these mind games. They want to let you know that they're doing it. At least in my time they did. This was all part of the intimidation and the conspiracy that things are happening around you. And, but I don't say that the technology's gotten better. I don't say they need an implant for everything. I don't say that they need someone next door to you for everything. Keep an open mind. Don't ever always be polite to your neighbor. Even if it's them, it's not going to help you getting into it. But, if you're gonna prove it. Find a way to prove it. One thing they got to do is they got to bring supplies in and out at night, and I caught them doing that. That was another thing. Put up cameras. There's ways to catch it. So I'm just saying, before you go off and get into it with your neighbor, catch them and be honest. Once you're catching them, then they really back off. They don't want to get caught.
Thanks, Peter.
Yep.
I'm going to go to California.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. I'm sorry you're going through this and you suspect your family's going through this as well. I wanted to ask about your identical twin children. If the child that was asked to say that they didn't love you but loved their father was one of the twins, and if you've ever considered having your children scanned.
Absolutely. It was that was not one of the twins that said that. It was my older son. but my identical twin girls, one of them has said something. She's pointed to her ear and said, I suspect she also has bilateral auditory neuropathy, and I don't know this for sure, but I have read somewhere, I saw a study online one time that low wave EMF frequency can actually cause auditory neuropathy, and I believe I was targeted when I was pregnant with them. So I do think that I think there might be a chance that she might have been crippled from the technology for life. So she wears bilateral hearing aids. She was supposed to get an implant, a cochlear implant, in the very beginning, and I'm actually kind of glad that that didn't end up happening. Her hearing actually improved, but she does wear bilateral hearing aids, and she pointed to her ear and said, Mommy, do you hear that? I hear Santa in my ear. He said he's opening the door for me.
Oh, wow.
They have also told me, they said in V2K you can only have one, and then showed me an image of the other daughter, the third daughter, third child who hasn't
I asked the question and you were answering while when I started playing, and I was listening to.
Hey guys, someone's got some background noise. Hold on, let me try and figure out where it's coming from. Go ahead. Sorry. Are you still there, Alli?
I'm here, yet.
Okay. Where were you? I'm sorry about that. I just heard a lot of background noise.
Oh, it's okay. So to answer that question, the first question I think was it my daughter? Was it one of the twins that expressed the V2K? It was that particular story was my older son, but there have been comments made there was a comment made by my youngest daughter as well. The other twin, it was the one, like they said, you can only have one, and then showed me an image of the other twin, indicating that 2 out of 3 of my children are in the program.
Oh. And you said you're in medical sales. Do you feel like you've been something to do with the company you work for, doing some type of research on their own?
I don't believe so, and the scan hasn't indicated any involvement in my previous employer. I was with a medical device company, and then because the torturing was so severe, I didn't lose my job, but my sales numbers were affected, so I ended up switching over to pharmaceutical sales, and I'm actually thinking about getting back into medical device sales here in the future. That's where I've spent the bulk of my career, but I don't believe there's any relation, but I don't know. I actually heard some things about the pharmaceutical company even that I am currently with, and their potential involvement in some of like the mind control stuff, but I wasn't working for them when I was attacked, so it just kind of happened that they were hiring, and I ended up getting a job with them afterwards. So I don't see any correlation, but I guess you never know, but I personally don't see any correlation so far.
Okay. Thank you for answering those. I'm sorry I'm going through that, and your children are affected as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one thing, like I have no idea who or why, no clue. Why,
Well, you mentioned, and I don't mean to just do my own situation, but you mentioned your parents, and I have a similar experience with my mother, and connections within our family and other members who I think may have been involved in this, and I think this probably started much longer ago than I initially realized. And I think sometimes they direct us to where we end up working or living or things of that nature. But it's difficult to prove, and I appreciated your synopsis of what happened to you. It was very articulate and well documented. I wish I could present my situation that well. I think you added a lot of credibility to, what the experience can be and what people are going through. And again, I'm just sorry that you're going through this. So.
Thank you. Like I said, though, luckily I feel like who knows what tomorrow brings, but at this point I feel like the worst is behind me. So I just want to focus on doing what I can to try to help the community, to try to, see if we can try to find a solution.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to come to Connecticut next. Hi, Connecticut.
Hi. I don't know if you can share this information. I also got scanned by Columbia Investigations, and I know what my frequencies are and everything. Mine happens to be in the cell phone range. Can you comment if yours are also in the cell phone range?
They said that some of them were satellite. Like the numbers, I guess, were like the satellite. I don't know if it's like the satellite range, but the I don't know. They didn't mention within anything about cell phone range. But I mean, I still haven't gotten the official report yet from Standinger. I just, got kind of like an unofficial handwritten document.
So mine are like, I'll give this is an example and not an actual, but say 2.4153 gigahertz. So is it gigahertz, megahertz? Anyways, it goes out 3 decimal places, and it's all in the 2.4 range, which is in the cell phone range. And if it's like, I think 3.3 or something, it's in the satellite dish range or something. But I don't have those.
I don't feel comfortable really talking like specifics on the frequencies, only because they really stressed, for legal reasons. I can get fined. I think, especially this call is recorded, and published online, and I could potentially be fined from Kidder or Standinger. So I definitely don't want to elaborate on any specifics of the frequencies. But if you wanted to get in touch with Kate Ryan, I don't know if you have her contact information. Maybe we could chat more offline.
Okay, that sounds good. And the other thing is information that I learned. I don't know if it's true, and maybe somebody else on this call knows if it's true. But from what you said about your children and your mother, I did hear for the past several years that they target pods, which means families. And now I can look at some of the what's happening with my nieces and nephews and other people in my family, and I believe it's targeting, the result of targeting. It's not just somebody having bad luck or having an illness. I think it's a result of the targeting. So
that's what I've heard numerous times as well.
Okay. Well, I wasn't able to listen to the entire call, but I'm sorry for what you're going through and what your children are going through. And I did hear they like to experiment on twins, and I hope that's not true, because I think experimenting on children is terrible. Experimenting on anybody is terrible, but especially children.
Well, the beginning part of the call we just talked about, we're putting together a conference in Boston. It's called the Unity and Hope Conference. So we're talking about trying to unite the community, creating a video online that we can put afterwards, creating a one-stop shop for TIs to learn about technology, resources, activism, support network scanning lawsuits, and receive hope for a solution to end their torture. So there'll be more information to follow on the various calls as well.
Okay, so I'm in Connecticut, and I
perfect.
I'll contact Kate.
Great, awesome.
And I also work in the pharmaceutical biotech industry and have for something years. I worked for 5 years, and then I worked for the FDA for 8 years, and now I'm a private contractor, but it's still the type of work I do. I get paid really well. I don't really like it because I'm allergic to the computer, and I'm microchipped from head to toe.
Okay. Well, I'd love to meet you. So it's Saturday, October 21st and Sunday, October 22nd in Boston. Reach out to Kate and she can give you more details.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, hopefully you can come.
Hey, James Lico, I'm going to come to you.
Hi. I wanted to give my 2 cents in also. From the first time I was targeted, that was in 2010. And after being a target, I realized that I was targeted at least as early as 1990 or so, when I worked at Lockheed Martin Marietta in Piketon, Ohio. And then, and after that, I realized that maybe I was targeted since I was a kid. So I don't know, but it did go further back. You know, it wasn't in 2010 like I thought. And the perps definitely proved to me that my thumbs. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, my thumbs, I had arthritis in my thumbs, and I had to have my thumb joints replaced, my basal thumb joints. That was something that other people are getting also. So I was tortured with, and I didn't know I was tortured with the basal thumb joints for a long time, and they blew them out, and I had to get them replaced. And right after I did, I became a target. And then they were doing the same thing, and they proved to me that they were doing it because I was the same kind of pain. You know, when I was using my thumbs or using my hands, they would target my thumb joints so that they hurt while I had to do work. And it was the work that I was doing that it was like scraping, because they would hit my thumbs and swell my joints up and inflame them. And if you have a choice to work or not work when your joints are inflamed, you don't want to work because it will tear your joints up like it did mine. And so they're doing this to other people who are not targeted, is my point about this. And I had all the crazy, stupid things they do. They give you like afflictions of like old age afflictions or fibromyalgia or just anything, and they don't want to. They want to do this so that you don't notice. I'm not sure if people know. In fact, I'm sure they don't know that they're giving people these diseases or these afflictions, and they just want them to suffer for some reason. And then I don't know what the reason is for that. Anyway, I was going to say that I, from the first time, see, I've got an associate degree in electronics engineering technology, which gives me, it's not a big deal. It's all it is just some training that I have, and it allows me to make observations. Like a lot of TIs will make observations, but they don't have any training. So it's, you get things like, oh, it's the satellites, and it's, just crazy stuff. So I happen to know electronics theory, and so I base what I say on that. And, it's really facts. I'm not just giving, garbage input. And also I found a meter early on which had directional capabilities. It's not easy to use. I tried to get other people to use it. I tried to teach other people to use it, but I don't know. I guess it was harder than I thought, and it didn't catch on. Some people did use it. And so what I've realized is that they move in close to us. They move in next door, above us, below us, surrounding. They will surround because these people are sociopaths and psychopaths, and they have personality problems. These people are predators. You have to understand, predators. They are the kind of people who rape other people. They are the kind of people who molest children. It's not the TIs. They're, they spread lies and rumors and get the TI in trouble and, make him an outsider. But the real problems are the sociopaths. They're predators. Now, what I mean by that is that they are the type of people who like to prey on other people for their livelihood, for their entertainment, for, whatever, for sex, for whatever. And they are, So what they're doing, what's happening here is they get near us so that they could use these weapons near us. And I believe, and I've seen this happen time and time and time and time again, I've proved it over and over and over to myself, that they need to be near us because they are doing two-way data communications, and they need to be near because they're doing human experimentation on us. They need to, they need the data to submit. And what happens with these weapons, is the beams, is that they bloom. It's what is also called interference, or the signal degrading. It blooms, and I'm sure that this is the reason why, because they seem to need to be right next door, right above, right below. They seem to need to do that, and the one that is right next door, right above, below, gets the job. They get their jobs for one day, for a 12-hour period, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Some of them work it out differently, but that's basically it. And then the next one takes over, and it's the one that has that is right next to the TI at 7 p.m. that gets it till the next morning, and then somebody else goes. And I've heard they make about $100 an hour, which is $1,200 a shift for one person, $2,400 for the day for 24 hours. And so they need to be next to you to get this data. And as far as I'm concerned, they are like bounty hunters. They're always tracking, always there. There's always one to come in and do this. So and also they have to be there they have to be close in your environment to do the things that they do, because they, for me, they would call up if I was going to a store. They'd call in advance, so that there would be perps there when I got there. They would call in advance. Like I was trying to buy a gun. They called the store owner and told him not to sell me one, even though I had nothing against me, and they didn't have any reason to say no, but they wouldn't say yes. It's that kind of thing. They have to be in your immediate vicinity to do the perpy things they do, because they make phone calls. They know the people in town. They're going to perp you. So that's why they need to be next to you. And if you had a directional meter, then you could tell that they're next door too, but you don't have it. So, if you want to fool yourself or think it's somebody else, or think they could be, a world away, I don't think so. I think they're right next door. Anyway, so I'm going to turn it over to somebody else. Thank you.
Well, thank you, James. I'm going to go ahead and mute you. Okay, Tide, I'm going to come to you, and you'll hear that it's unmuted.
Hi, thanks, Ella. Thanks, Ella. So I don't get a lot of these I don't get any of the voice things, right? It's mostly electronic for me. So, and it started with a little bit of the stage kind of thing, the gang stalk and stuff. But I mean, it was kind of light. But my question is, I don't know. So about this implant stuff. I mean, and again, pardon my. So I didn't believe any of this, And then when it started happening to me, I was like, okay, well, this part's true, because I was experiencing it. Now, when you guys talk about, voice in your head and things like that, I wasn't buying it, but now I'm starting to say, okay, everything that you guys talk about comes true eventually. But so skipping all that, I just want to know why about this, these implants. Why a couple of people have spoken about it, and they don't want to give out frequencies. And again, because you're going to be fined, or I don't get that. Like, who are you? I shouldn't say who you're afraid of, but legally, who are you afraid of? I mean, if you could talk about it.
When I was scanned, I signed paperwork with the people, the private investigator that I worked with, that says that I'm not going to. This call is recorded, and it's I signed a document saying that I'm not going to publish any information about my scan. So it says in the document that I could be fined potentially. I want to say it's like $10,000 or something like ridiculous. So that's where that's
okay. And I'm not asking for specifics because I totally respect that, and thanks for answering these questions because it helps a lot of people. But I kind of want to know, I guess, why they would. Who's got?
So I asked that. Like, do you want to know why they say that?
Kind of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I asked her that. I said, because this is so important to share. Why? Why are you not allowing? Because I wanted to make sure too. Like, I also asked if my information could be used towards the survey, the symptom survey. And I know at least part of it supposedly can be. The other part I'm still trying to get permission to be used because I think, all of this is just pieces to the puzzle that we can help put together. The explanation that was given to me, which made sense, is if the frequencies are published, the frequencies that are being used on me, someone else could be listening to this call, especially if this call is put online afterwards. They can hack into that frequency and then start harassing other people that are on that frequency.
Oh, so there's more than one person on the same frequency. Okay.
Yes, that's my understanding of it, yes. And so by publishing the frequencies or talking about specifics about the frequencies, it opens it up to whoever these it's hackers. They're essentially, they're brain hackers. So, somebody else could hack into that frequency and start harassing other people. So it could cause harm to other people. And if there's legal action taken, towards different organizations, universities, or government agencies, when you start talking specifics, it could hurt a future legal case.
Okay.
Can I give another interpretation of that, guys? And I don't mean to be contrary, but we know that everything is broadband. How do they communicate with your phone and not get everybody else's phone? And so they have codes where they jump through different frequencies. And so if you say that she says it's an exact frequency and there's a company that puts that out and they feel that they're being libeled, they could be sued. So they don't want you talking about it. But I think much of what we deal with is broadband. But I don't mean to be contrary, but I think the other side needs to be said every now and then. Sorry.
Talk about where one might go to get checked out, and does health insurance kind of cover the cost?
No, insurance does not cover the cost of it, and it's not cheap. But it's I felt like it was worth it. So I got scanned by Melinda Kidder. I recommend her. She's out in it's Columbia Investigations. Where is let me pull her up and give you the exact information. But I flew out to her, and I felt like it was worth it. I felt like she was professional. She gave a report after. She did a lot. Like she does an RFID search. She does like a metal detector, which that didn't pick up anything. It's mostly the nanotechnology and the silicone implants. I think nowadays. She does a.
I'm sorry. What makes it reputable? Why would somebody? First of all, how much is it? And then ballpark. And
Sure. Well, I can give you the exact amount. It's $1,600 for her scan. What makes her reputable? Well, I mean, right now you don't really have any options. I believe she's the only one I know of right now in the country currently doing scans. I think there might be somebody out in Spain that's doing them right now. There was a couple of other people, but I think Peter might know more about it. I don't think that they're currently scanning people right now. But as of right now, she is literally the only one I know of in the country. So, you know, there's not really many options out there. She's out it's Columbia, Missouri, and she is, she does a thermal scan, you know, which lack of thermal imaging can indicate possible implant, EMF frequencies and radio frequencies, and then you have from there though. You have to go to the frequencies need to be read by somebody. So she'll send the report. I don't know if there's more than one group that does the frequency reading. I think there is actually. I've talked to other people that have gone to somebody else to get their frequencies read after they've been scanned by Melinda Kidder. I went to Hildegard Standinger, and then she can tell you. She does a bunch of different searches, FCC database.
Hold on one second, Allie. I'm going to have good noise. Hold on. Will you start 8, Allie, and I'll mute you. Allie, will you star 8 for me so I can find you? A lot of people on the board. There she is. Go ahead, kid. I'm sorry.
Yep, there we go. So she'll research the frequencies that Kidder pulls up, and Kidder has measures too, where she'll test before you get there. She tests for frequencies, and after you leave, to make sure that whatever frequencies she pulls up are specific to you and weren't just natural, you know, frequencies that are in the air. Because I guess, you know, lots of things can give off electromagnetic frequencies. And then Standinger does the report where she puts it all together. You know, figures out who the frequencies are registered to. And I think she can even dig a little bit deeper to figure out who specifically at the different companies, organizations, or colleges have the license, or, you know, are licensed specifically to your frequency. Because I think there's like a specific person that it's licensed to.
And once you have these, I'm presuming you have the locations because they were able to, you know, detect frequencies. Do you then, is it possible to get an MRI, and what happens next?
Yeah, so that's a good question. That's kind of where I'm at right now. So I literally am still kind of waiting on my report from Hildegard Standinger. But I believe the next step from here, it sounds like there have been a handful of people who have won in legally. It sounds like everybody at this point has settled out of court and signed some sort of like hush agreement or, you know, something that where they can't talk about it, it sounds like. Yeah. So, you know, it sounds you can go to, they have a physician that they work with. I'm not going to mention a name because I know it's very important to keep this physician somewhat secretive, who can actually get your implants removed. Then you have some actual hard evidence too, and that's,
she sets this up with the physician, right? So you don't have to know.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. So she can also refer you to a psychiatrist that can do a psychiatric evaluation. You know, saying that you're sane in case you get institutionalized. She also can. She can also refer you to a private investigator that she's working with, it sounds like, that can do a little bit more digging as well, and refer you to some legal representation too. So
did you get your PI prior to or after the fact?
Get the what?
You hired a private investigator, you said earlier. Did you do that after?
Oh, I did that. No, well, I hired private investigators in the very, very beginning, like the first day I got targeted. I dropped like $3,000 on private investigators, but, you know, people who had no idea about what a targeted individual was. At this point, I had no idea. I'm having them look for bugs in my house. Meanwhile, you know, the nanotechnology is on me. But I didn't know that at this point, obviously, because it was the first day that I got targeted. You know, so this woman, Melinda Kidder, who does the scan is a private investigator, but she is very well versed in this, and she supposedly, the thing though that I was kind of wondering, like she supposedly has scanned hundreds of targeted individuals, or at least 100 targeted individuals, but there's only a very, very small handful who it sounds like have successfully been able to prove settling out of court.
And what is the ratio, if you know, of people who they found the frequencies as yourself?
Yeah, that's a good question. I asked her that. She said it was about 90%.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's going to be busy next week, I think.
Maybe,
Thanks
yeah. I recommend her, Melinda Kidder, Columbia Investigation. You have to pay for your own travel expenses to her, though, as well.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thanks, Tide.
Thank you.
Go ahead. I'm going to mute you back. Okay, I'm going to go to Michigan. Hi, Michigan.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
Hi. This is Christina from Michigan. Hi, Ella. Hi, Ellie as well. Is that
Alli?
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Ellie.
Hi.
Okay. I'm wondering about physical illnesses specifically, and I'm also wondering about prior to, I guess, the V2K, what kind of community stalking, harassment, psychological torture, so on. Just curious, like what kind of, do you have anything that you want to share about that? Or,
Sure.
I mean, it seems like a lot of people on these phone calls, I'm a little bit bitter, you have to forgive me, but it seems like a lot of people on these phone calls are from all walks of life, and some of them seems like, they have just this money to burn, which is great, but like I don't, from what I've understood, from what I've researched, a lot of people who are in this situation have like nothing, and I guess that's kind of the object of the program. I don't know, but anyway, did you experience anything like that, like long-term community stalking or any kind of illness, like physical illness?
Yeah, I've never had any physical illness, and I've never had any physical torture that a lot of people experience. So I'm very, very lucky and feel very, very blessed in that regard, because I hear about some of these, people that are just getting burned, and it's just, it just breaks my heart. Gang stalking, I did have kind of mild gang stalking. There's been a couple of situations where I've been like in an area and I've heard people talking around me, talking about, it seemed to me, although I feel like there is a point too in the beginning when you first get targeted where you are in this like just super hyper paranoid state, where, looking back, I wonder how much of what I thought was gang stalking may have just been the electronic harassment and just my hyper paranoid state.
Right.
So, I'm trying to think of like any blatantly obvious. There was a situation where I used to take my daughter to get her hearing aids to the audiologist, and I'd drive by this certain street. And like, I don't know, they said, like, I hear them talking about like duck in my head and like making like quacking noises. Like, and I've heard that before. Like, I don't know if it's reference to like sitting duck or like, kind of like a, a patsy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like if it's a reference to being like a sitting duck or a patsy.
Right.
So I drove by the street, and I would always drive by this one street where there was a street sign one time of a mommy duck and her 3 baby ducks walking across the street, like totally random street sign. And it was on this road where they knew I was going to be driving by. And then the next week I drove by the same street sign, and it was the mommy duck had 2 of her baby ducklings were X'd out with a big black X.
Oh my God.
And I took a picture of it. I still have the picture of it. And then I never saw the sign there again.
Yeah.
I only saw the sign those 2 times, and it was 2 times that I was scheduled to take my daughter to her audiology.
I'm sorry. That's terrible. That's terrible. I can't believe it. I mean, I'm not trying to draw comparisons here, but I'm just saying, like, I know what I can't understand. How do I say this? This is hard for me to say. I can't understand why they would involve
Small children.
Well, yeah, or even from what I've noticed, I've actually so sad. I've noticed children who are like perps. Okay, so I just don't understand how. I don't know if I'd say they're perps, but they're just.
I think that they're
being
believe
controlled somehow. You know.
Yeah. I believe that so the ages that my children are at right now, like 3 to 6, is a very influential age, and I know that they do a lot with like dream manipulation. I was talking to Dr. Black not that long ago, and she was telling me too how, when you fall asleep normally, it takes 90 minutes to really start having an actual dream. A lot of us targeted individuals experience this dream manipulation where typically it happens in the morning. So you wake up and you're awake, and then all of a sudden you fall back asleep, just bam, just fall back asleep just suddenly. And within 5 minutes time, I'll look at a clock before and after, and I know that this is not happening over, a couple hour, a 90-minute period where it would normally take somebody to get into a normal dream situation. You get into this dream, this very vivid dream that you remember very, very vividly. Like I've had them, it'll be like about like transhumanism, or, there were times where they were showing me dreams that they were like showing to my children where they were cartoon characters that were like, I don't know that they're showing them to my children, but I'm just assuming that's what they were trying to tell me is this is what we're showing to children, where it was the whole point of the dream is these cartoon characters were completely immoral and just got away with it. Like there was this elephant that was like stealing from the other animals, and then they all rode off into the sunset, and like, it was just teaching to be immoral, and, the whole message was, do whatever you want and, no morals, no ethics, and get away with it kind of thing. Transhumanist agenda kind of stuff too. There was one where they showed pulling a silicone implant out of my nose that said like U.S. government on it or something like that. Like just, different stuff that's blatantly obvious, manipulated dreams that usually happen in the morning when I've already woken up and I fall back asleep within 5 minutes. I don't know what your question was on sick. I've never had any kind of sickness though, luckily.
Right.
But I mean, who knows? I guess
No. Don't.
Pretty common, so hopefully, I know.
Yeah, no. I was just wondering if it's because I don't really understand any of this, and it sounds like, obviously you know a lot more about it than I do, but I have a lot of experience. I just don't. Everyone's saying it's phases, or it's different phases, and then it's different things and all this, and I know what you're talking about, like about dreams for sure, and it's sad to have to always say neighbor this, neighbor that, because my belief system is you're not supposed to, everyone's innocent till they're proven guilty.
Proven guilty.
You're not supposed to falsely accuse your neighbor or anybody, and that's against God, but like these people, I had people above me, and my mom heard them too. They would make loud noises very early in the morning, 4, 3 in the morning, wake me up. I'd fall back asleep, and I'd have these crazy dreams, just and gnarly, like what's the word? Not gnarly. I can't think of things. I'm sorry. It's I can't think of the word. Like gory, like gore.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and when I was a little girl, very small, very young, I had horrible dreams too. Okay. But this kinds of things these are different now. But that was when I was very young. We've always lived near foreigners too, my family. Not to say but these people were like white people. I called them Duck Dynasty people because they look like the people from Duck Dynasty. Sorry. And they lived They lived above me, and this is what they were, they were waking me up, and they brided me a lot. And it was weird because one time the one they had gone to the church I used to go to. I recognized her license plate, but she brided me. I was walking home with these stupid shoes, and because of the light was so bright, and of my dreams when I was a little girl, it scared the crap out of me. It was really crazy. I couldn't believe it. It was really weird, and I fell and hurt my leg, but I was okay. I got up. But it's just funny that whatever, neighbors, I don't know, neighbor, whatever. What are you going to do? But people, I'm glad that you're okay and that you're doing this. I'm proud of, it makes me feel happy for you that you're not, that you're able to be articulate and be a way to, that's good. So I don't know. I just don't know. I probably sound like an idiot. It's okay, though. I don't care.
No, you're fine.
Just like, I had a brain scan done, too. But it was probably by some hacks, I'm sure. But they did it for free for me. But they said they found they said they said, oh, maybe you're autistic. Okay, yeah, But it turns out I do have like a growth in my brain now. I have a meningioma or something. Whatever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but they had found all this like. Activity. They said, oh my goodness, you have a really high, they did sound wave ELF wave.
Yep.
Yeah. They said, oh my goodness, and the only thing they could think is, well, maybe you have autism. Nothing against autistic people. I mean, not at all, but I'm just,
Yeah.
But that's a whole other topic, of course, right? Anyway, whatever, okay. I'm probably, sorry guys. I sound like the biggest idiot in the world. Good.
You're fine.
No, you don't. Don't worry about it.
Well, yeah, not really. Yeah. But okay. I don't know what else to say. Anyway, it would be nice to go to that conference. I hope that, good luck. Okay, God, for that. Yeah. So.
Okay. Well,
hopefully you can make it.
I'll go ahead and put you back on mute. Thanks for your questions.
Okay.
Hey, Allie.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I've heard quite a bit was they didn't know I was a diamond in the rough.
What is diamond in the rough? Because I know it does have to do. Yeah.
I thought
they've told you that before, though, too.
Well, I thought because I started a company and built homes, and all in 4 years I did a ton of stuff. I thought that's what they were talking about. But you're the first one to mention.
It was in Kathy O'Brien's book, The Transformation of America. It actually had to do with something with multiple personality disorder, but I mean obviously I don't have multiple personality disorder, but
I don't think I do either.
No, definitely not. But it does have to do with some of the mind control. I'm trying to look back through my notes to see if I can find the quote from her book.
Yeah, I mean, I heard things like, we didn't know he was a diamond in the rough, or, look, this guy's a diamond in the rough. So,
Used to describe a DID slave engaged in programming via torture conditioning.
I definitely been through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we both went through torture conditioning for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So now I guess I know what they meant by that. They didn't know.
California, I just unmuted you. Do you have a question for Allie?
No, Ella, I'm just reminding you that when it's over, to come back to me if you can. Thank you.
Okay, Allie. Well, I think, let's see. Let me go to Northwest. We have a lot of Californians asking questions. Northwest California. Go ahead, Northwest California.
Hi, I would just like to give my phone number to the person in Michigan, if I may. I don't know if she's still on the line. I'm
on the line. If you want to say it once more, she could probably write it down.
Okay. Yes, I'm in Michigan. My name is Kim, and my phone number is 707-350-1784. Again, my name is Kim at 707-350-1784. I was trying to connect with other people in Michigan. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. Well, I think we're good on the questions now. Let me see if I'm missing anybody. Okay, no, that's Linda. Yeah, I think that's it. So do you want to, well, I guess I'll ask you a question. I think I know what you're going to tell me. One of my favorite questions is, what's been the silver lining out of all of this? And I think I know your answer, but, you know, it seems like you're doing activism. So what have you gotten out of this whole targeting experience? And then my second question would be, what do you think needs to happen in order to, you know, to stop this? And what do you think is going to work in the future to kind of put an end to all of this?
Yeah. So I think that silver lining, you know, I definitely think that just being exposed to it, because there's no way if this didn't happen to me, I would believe it. If somebody came to me telling me what I have just shared, you know, I know I'm with a group that I know believes me because a lot of them have experienced very similar things. But, you know, if it didn't happen to me personally, I wouldn't believe it. So I think that I know that I am very grateful, actually, and I tell my perps this all the time. I say, you know, thank you. Thank you for doing this to me, because you have, you know, shown me what is happening and exposed this to me. And like I said, I mean, I really just want to spend, you know, dedicate as much of my free time and for the rest of my life to doing what I can to fight for this cause, because I can't think of any more important cause to fight for. I mean, the atrocities that are being committed against hundreds of thousands of innocent men, women, and children on a daily basis is just obscene. I mean, it's horrendous. It's, you know, and it's the perfect, you know, crime where they're just, you know, can completely get away with it. It's the perfect fingerprintless crime, you know, and the whole point is that the victims are, you know, made to look like they have mental illnesses, you know, gaslighted to, you know, shamed, and, you know, they don't come forward because they're afraid of looking like they have a mental illness, being institutionalized, losing their families. And, you know, I think that what we need to do is just work to try to unite. You know, I know we're all given subliminals on a daily basis, and there's a lot of conflicts, and there's a lot of, you know, hostility between the group and calling each other perps, and, you know, that's just part of their program too, you know, to try to separate us, you know, because there's strength in numbers. So the more we can do to strategically plan and unite in a credible, unified front, you know, and figure out a way to, you know, present to the public, because if people really did understand and believe what was happening to us, you know, people are, by nature, I don't believe people are bad people. You know, I think that a lot of this is stemmed around a lot of misunderstanding and misinformation that people are fed, and we just need to figure out a way to expose the truth.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Allison. I really appreciated having you on. Again, we've had Alli Frances on, and I really appreciate it again. So I guess we'll just, maybe you can come back in sometimes and give us an update on the conference, and, you know, we'll be in touch. And so at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the recording, and we'll go ahead and open it up for discussion. So thank you, Alli. I appreciate it. Okay. Good night.
Talk shoes. Recorded live.
Welcome to the Tuesday Nights Trying Forever Targeting podcast. I'm your moderator, Ella. Tonight we have yet another special guest, and I'm very excited to have Alli and Peter here to discuss the conference we have scheduled here in fall in Massachusetts. So, but a couple little notes here. If you are new to the call, please stay on, and we will get you some additional support, some additional TalkShoe podcast numbers, and some helpful links and websites. This is a solutions and educational-based podcast, but the views and opinions of my guests are not necessarily my own personal views and opinions. My goal is that everyone can obtain something out of tonight, especially feeling of empowerment. If you have any suggestions, comments, questions, or especially if you're in need of some additional support, please don't hesitate to email me at tiangel2016@gmail.com. And I appreciate all the suggestions for guests. I listen to them, obviously, and I do my best to get them on for you guys. So, so we have, Alli, and we have Peter here to discuss this conference, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about Alli. She's the one spearheading this, and she's also going to give her testimony. So she's a really incredible woman, so let me tell you a little bit about her. She graduated Chapman University in Orange County with a 3.5 GPA. She's cum laude, I can't say that today, cum laude, Gray Key, not sure what Gray Key is, Dean's List, 5 semesters. She took classes towards her MBA but never finished. She started having children. She's worked 13 years and had a successful career in sales, 3 in office equipment sales, 2 in pharmaceutical, and 8 in the medical field. She has received many promotions, President's Club trips, sales awards, and accolades. Her biggest accomplishment, though, is her beautiful children. So thank you, Alli. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Ella. Yeah, we're calling it 2017 Unity and Hope Conference. We're hoping to make this an annual thing. There's a great group of community in the Boston area, and they did put together a conference kind of similar a couple years back. It was really successful. So we're hoping to kind of do something similar. I'm working with like a really great committee of people. Peter is on the Rosenbaum is on the phone. Carol Gifford is also working with us too. I think she might be on the call as well. And Kate Ryan, Margaret Zevnek. Did I pronounce that right, Peter? Mike Mason is also helping us. Midge is also helping us, and Ella as well. And we had Frank Allen and Derek as well giving some input too, and Desiree, had helped us a little bit as well. So what we're trying to accomplish with this conference, we're working with a number of different organizations. We're trying to kind of unite the community as much as we can. Our goal is to try to unite everybody, make a video afterwards that we can put online, creating kind of a one-stop shop for targeted individuals to learn about technology, resources, activism, support networks, scanning, lawsuits, receive hope for a solution to end their torture. Some of the different organizations like the Red Pill Hardcore Show, PAX, Targeted Massachusetts, obviously the show, the Ella Free Show, some of the people from the Techno Crime Fighters Forum, Citizens Against Harmful Technology had offered to help as well. So per night for a Studio King bed and a pull-out sleeper sofa, that sleeps a max of 4 people. And then it's $189 per night for a 1-bedroom with 2 queens and a pull-out sleeper sofa. So, and that sleeps 6 people in that room. And then there's also a Comfort Inn option as well with a block of rooms there as well. And that is $169 for 4 people too. So just to give, some different options for people and, what they can do when they RSVP, we can talk with them, figure out, where they want to sleep. And then from there, we can, coordinate, like if they want to share rooms with people, we can help, kind of coordinate that too. Or if they, already have people that they want to share rooms with, or, if they want to just call the hotels and book their rooms directly, however people want to do it, we can just kind of figure it out from there. But space is limited in the dormitory venue. So, you want to make sure that as soon as we get the website up, if you are interested, please book your room right away. And that is pretty much it, I think. Peter, do you have anything you want to add here?
How many people can the dormitories hold?
50. The dormitory can sleep 50 people.
Yeah, so that.
I mean,
that
we
would
might
be
be able to squeeze in more if we, had more people. But they'd probably have to bring sleeping bags. There's 50 beds, I believe, or 48 beds.
Yeah. I think 50 is pretty good. I think it would. Some people are going to want a hotel, and so I think 50 is actually pretty good.
I know you guys had like 60 people at the last conference, but I always think of the DC trip. We had
Right.
9 people, so you never know what to expect.
Right. No, Kay and I went and got a hotel though because didn't want to do the dormitory style stuff. So there was plenty of room. So I don't think we should have a problem. 50 should be fine. But if people want to go to a hotel, then they're there. So can you bring Kate on, Ella?
Yeah,
Kate's
maybe she's available. I wasn't sure if she was available, but maybe she's available. If you are available to speak, just go ahead and star 8, and I'll let you in. Otherwise, no big deal. Oh, hold on. Here's Massachusetts. Hi.
Hi, Ella.
Hi, Kate.
Hey, Kate.
Hi, everybody.
So Kate's been over there to check the place out, so I thought she could.
The most important thing that I was looking for when I got there was to find out how clean it was, and it's very clean. I was really amazed, actually. For a camp, I was thinking, oh boy, this could be really bad, but it's really well kept. I mean, it's not the Taj Mahal as far as looks, but it is very functional, very clean. They have it set up for. There's a commercial, like industrial-sized kitchen, so it's just like the kitchen of any restaurant, and it's set up with a counter, so you can come to the counter. There's a pull-down screen right at the counter, too, so when the kitchen isn't being used, the room is set up with folding chairs, so the screen would be up at the front of the room where the kitchen is. So it's all in one spot there, and let's see, what else? As far as the way the rooms are set up, there's extra mattresses. They have, I think it's like a foam mattress on each of these little beds, and they have about 4 beds to a room. So you're really sleeping in like a barrack type of a setup. People can, if they want, have even more people in the room by just taking each of the beds. I think have 2 of these mattresses on, and you really only need 1. So someone could actually put one down on the floor and add extra people. But as far as what Allison said, I think it's just a little over 50 when you take the mattresses apart and add extra. So if it would be 40 max if everyone has 2 mattresses, and then if you wanted to add people, then you start taking the mattresses down. Okay, hope that it makes it clear. It's a beautiful setting. Probably one of the most beautiful sights. You can look off in the distance and see Boston. Look off and see actually the shore as well, and there's a tower there. So it's just a breathtaking 360-degree view. For those who want to be active, if you felt like hiking at all, there's hiking trails everywhere there. And for public transportation, you can get a bus right to basically the bottom of the hill, and we could then transport people up that came by public transportation up, via picking you up with the car, because it's quite a steep hill. Unless somebody's really athletic, it's a bit of a climb, I would think. Probably a little over a half-mile climb from the parking lot. There's a little parking lot, so a public bus comes into that parking lot. I haven't gotten the schedule yet, but I should get that to you, Allison, on the busing, how often it comes. And then if people also came in via the T, we could possibly pick some people up at the T as well. Okay.
Well, I was just saying that some people might fly in, so we'll probably arrange to pick them up, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
our local group can pick up anybody at the airport.
They can take public transportation from the airport too, and then we could get them to the the nearest spot. Like if they even took the public transportation to Quincy, we could pick them up there.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not chance getting lost. I mean, I've
right.
always.
I mean, if that if we have a lot, we certainly could do
Yeah,
that.
I don't think we'll have a million in, so we should be able to work it out.
Yeah, as long as it's not in the middle of the
sure.
day, because then that would mean leaving the conference. So that would be the best.
I would assume people flying in would want to get in Friday. That we have the room Friday night. I don't know what time we can check in or. But I would assume we'd be able to get there like midday on Friday. If people wanted to come in, I would assume, recommend if they were flying in to come in Friday night. The conference deliberations are going to be on the following topics. We're going to be demonstrating the technology used for V2K, all known technologies and patents used in psychological and physical torture of targeted individuals. Mike is going to be coming with the audio spotlight. We're going to be discussing the history of mind control technology and the torture used on non-consensual innocent civilians. We're going to be introducing all of the resources available to TI. So we're going to include, make sure that we have the resources listed out for all the different conference calls, websites, blogs, social media pages, TV, radio, YouTube, podcasts, shows, all the different local support group networks. Discussing different activism opportunities, walks, letter writing campaigns, flyers, shirts, awareness campaigns, meetups, rallies, protests, other ways to raise awareness of this growing crime, demonstrating and discussing scanning techniques and referring to private investigators who can scan for radio frequencies, identification of nanomaterials and other similar technologies in individuals, introducing legal action ideas, including gathering affidavits and possibility of a class action lawsuit idea, discussing the symptom survey created for the targeted individual community, enthusiastically supported by joint organizations with Bill Binney and Kirk Wiebe as advisors. The survey is intended to gather demographics, medically diagnosed and undiagnosed symptoms, and other information related to what targeted individuals experience. Again, our goal is to bring together as many support groups, media shows, activism groups, organizations of targeted individuals, so we can work together, learn from each other, and strategize on solutions to bring about change and end the suffering of hundreds of thousands of victims nationwide. So our hope is to come together, to build, to empower, to educate the community on technology, resources, and support, and then as a unified front, attempt to educate the public. As a result of this conference, we'll be able to strategically fight for freedom and justice with all the unity of the groups that we can worldwide, and the knowledge and understanding of the program and the technology. So, so far, we have the buy-in for, we're thinking that we're probably going to have a lot of presentations, video presentations. We're going to try to have any speakers that are interested in presenting, maybe putting together a video presentation. So even if they're not able to make it, or if something happens, their targeting increases and, something happens last minute, we at least have a video presentation that we can show of them. But we have had some commitments to either be there live in person or present a video presentation from some of these key thought leaders of within the targeted individual community. Karen, and if I mispronounce anybody's name, I apologize. Karen Milton Stewart, activist, NSA whistleblower, former NSA linguist on the Techno Crime Fighters Forum. Carl Clark, activist, whistleblower, former CIA and MI5 operative. Catherine Horton, activist, particle physicist, Techno Crime Fighters Forum, Stop 007 website, Tsunami email campaign. David Voigt, activist, former naval officer, organized Walk Against Human Experiments. Dr. Millicent Black, activist, Techno Crime Fighters Forum. Dr. Paul Marco, activist, Techno Crime Fighters Forum, Pinecone Utopia. Dr. Sean Andrews, activist, materials scientist, engineer, and organic chemist. Ella Free, activist, call moderator, Ella Free Show. Kate Ryan, activist, call moderator, runs the New England Support Group Organized Symptom Survey, Midge Mathias, activist researcher with the new investigative techniques, Tomo Shibata, activist and author, Stephen Schellen, activist and actor, Gary Kazenbaum, activist, former Marine captain, Desiree Foley, activist YouTube sensation, V, activist, TV and radio personality, The Red Pill Hardcore Show, Derek Robinson, activist, PAX International, executive director, Frank Allen, activist call moderator, targeted Massachusetts, Dr. Matthew Aaron, activist, neurobiologist and toxicologist, Mike Mason, activist call moderator, showing the B2K with the audio spotlight, Peter Rosenbaum, activist, runs the New England, runs the New England Support Group, and Neil Chevrier, activist, runs Citizens Against Harmful Technology, Dwight Magnum, activist, engineer, designed a device to alleviate symptoms of targeting. So that's who we have so far. Obviously, we are still hoping, to put more speakers on as, if anyone else expresses an interest. We are still working on putting together the agenda and the topics that are being discussed and, fine-tuning everything. So I'm putting together a website that I'll have up. It will have the availability for people to RSVP right on the website. We have decided not to give specifics about the location because we've had some issues with, getting shut down at another location. We just want to make sure that things run smoothly. So what we're thinking we're going to do is you can RSVP on the website and you put your contact information. And then the New England Support Group will get back in touch with you and we will give you all of the specifics and help coordinate everything that we can from there. But just that way we're not giving the specific location on a public forum. We're doing it personally, one-on-one with people when we get in touch with them. So the conference is going to run from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday and 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday. So I believe I said the date, so, this way you can save the date, October 21st and October 22nd. And Friday and Saturday evenings are going to be more informal opportunity, for networking, support within the community. The conference itself is going to be free and open to the public. But for lodging options, we have put together a couple different options for people. One option is more of a dormitory style option, and this is going to be on site of the conference. Beautiful hiking and views, close to the 28, 95, 93, easy to get to with public transportation. We'll be shuttling people in from the bottom of the hill if they're coming in from public transportation. It's going to be, so it's $64 total per person for Friday and Saturday night. So it's only $32 a night for the dormitory style option. Attendees do need to bring their own sheets for the dorm sleeping. And then meals will be provided. We're going to do meals, I think we said $20 a day, and we'll cook all the meals for them as well. So then if, there's a large industrial kitchen, plenty of fridge space, there's a water machine, and there's also, we can lock the gate, so it will be, private in the evening for sleeping. If the other option for people too is there's also a block of rooms at a Homewood Suite that's 5 minutes away from the location. These rooms are booked at a discounted rate of $169